Zach Wilson traded. You've got Jaden Daniels. Rumors abound everywhere. Brandon Aiyuk. Have the Niners actually receive calls? Trade potential communication on Brandon Aiyuk. It sounds like the answer is yes, but we also have John Lynch saying that he wants Aiyuk there forever. More Rashee Rice news and more. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Here we go. We have more news. By the way, on this this Herbert CTESPN, we got no real movement on that. No real move. We're waiting for AB. He was supposed to come on. Let me check my Twitter DMs. Still no confirmation of when AB is going to come on and talk about this, but his potential prediction not quite looking so good at this moment in time. Not to mention the dead cap, but we kicked it around anyway. But we got real news to talk about right now. Until CTESPN climbs into our most trusted source bucket, we'll go ahead and hit the other stuff, the real stuff. We'll start off with Zach Wilson. I mean, let's be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. Let's be honest with ourselves. This is a player that no team should have to start. And if in fact the Broncos are looking to potentially utilize the Stidham and Zach Wilson approach in Denver in 2024, I think Sean Payton has lost it. I think Sean Payton is cooked. If he truly believes this is his plan of attack and his pathway forward, you get rid of Russell Wilson. You pay $50+ million over the course of 2 years, $30+ million this year. You are paying Russell Wilson to play football for the Pittsburgh Steelers. How embarrassing is that? You're paying Russell Wilson $35 million to play football for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. It's embarrassing. And you go ahead and misuse Javonte all year. I don't care what anybody says about McLaughlin or whatever. You misuse Javonte, who was clearly ready to play, showed some explosion at times during the year. And then you make this move, and this is great for the Jets. They need to get this guy out of here. They need to draft Joe Milton. I love Joe Milton for the New York Football Jets, man. If this ends up happening, I'll be ecstatic, because I think that the New York Jets need to attack the quarterback position at 10, frankly, and get Penix Jr. or Bo Nix, just to tell A-Rod, hey, this is your team, but you're going to develop this guy, and we want something that the Green Bay Packers had. Love sitting there, marinating, okay? And it's not always the best plan of attack to let a quarterback sit and learn on the bench anymore. It's not the way the NFL works anymore. It's not the way college football works anymore. It's translatable right away. It transfers immediately. But in this scenario, you need to protect yourself and make sure that you aren't walking into a situation where Aaron Rodgers tears his other Achilles tendon, which I've already told you is a very likely scenario. Not super likely, but I just mean if an injury is to occur, it's going to be that he injures the other Achilles tendon potentially, because that's the way that stuff works. And I think I have a graphic here that I can put on screen. I don't know if I have it readily available. I'll try and pull it up. I have it somewhere on my computer here. But Aaron Rodgers' one leg is very different than the other leg. And when we see that missile getting thrown from A-Rod over to Garrett Wilson. Let me see if I can find that image. I got it somewhere. It's somewhere around here. I'll try and find it. The difference in your legs the atrophy is crazy. And he's throwing that missile over to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers were getting excited. But if you zoom in and pinch and zoom, you can see the leg difference of these two guys. These two legs is crazy. And the same thing happens with ACL recoveries too. There's compensation involved, and that's what I'm trying to get at. When you tear down one Achilles, you're kind of wearing down the other one. When you're wearing down one patellar tendon, you're oftentimes wearing down the other. It's just the nature of your wear and tear. Your obviously wear and tear is different than the average bear to your Achilles, to your patellar tendons. And so you compensate. You got a very skinny leg that's trying to not put a lot of weight on that naturally, and you're protecting it with your good leg, and then you rupture the other Achilles tendon. So the Jets would be very, very wise to attack in aggressive fashion Penix Jr. and Bo Nix here. They're probably going to take Bowers, if I had to guess, which is fantastic too. I'm not mad at that at all.
Mashed potatoes.
I'm not mad at that at all. That is probably the most ideal of scenarios, to be quite frank. And then all you got to do if you're the New York Football Jets is come back and get Rattler in the next round or two. Joe Milton, depending on how far he'll fall, I imagine he'll go sooner than people expect. But give me Joe Milton. Give me Joe Milton. I'll take Joe Milton all day long as my backup quarterback, this nice little project. I love it. We're live the entire draft on Thursday, the entire first round. We're live probably hours, if not 2 or 3 hours before, into the entire draft, and then obviously some recap. But get ready for that. That's going to be a marvelous day. I love draft day. Jets needed to get rid of this guy. They could not have this guy come back onto the field ever again. And what does that say to the Denver Broncos? Good luck. Good riddance, Zach Wilson. Go do your worst over in Denver. This is a guy that, he performed well at times. He did kind of say, hey, I can play football a little bit. I'm worthy of being a backup in the NFL. The problem is, in New York, he had this cloud over him, and there was no ability for him to climb up and become the man. He was always a rental, and it affected him. The offense wasn't suited for him. He needs to go somewhere else. I don't think Denver's going to get anything out of this, to be honest. I don't think we're going to have a situation where it's even remotely attractive. Okay, Smitty, give one example of a player who ruptures their other Achilles tendon. How about Cam? Cam Akers? How about Cam Akers? Mel? How about Cam Akers? Mel, you want to go there? Cam Akers, Mel? Not only did I predict Cam Akers to be the most injury-prone running back entering his rookie year, and that he would never stay healthy. I told you he would never stay healthy. I also said he will rupture another Achilles tendon. Mel, I said that exactly. And what did he do? He ruptured another Achilles tendon. I told you that, Mel. You want an example? There you go, pal. Appreciate you being here. Rashee Rice. This stuff is this is going to get very bad. Texas is going to throw down the hammer and book on this guy, and what is appearing to be about 8 counts right now could climb all the way up to 14 counts, maybe even higher. And what I'm hearing on pretty good authority, and I'm hearing it repeated by guys like Mike Florio, who you could clown on Florio all you want. He is an attorney, so he does bring some good, I guess some legal stuff to the table. Also said that it's his projection, as it is mine, that we're going to see this situation get worse for him count wise as the trial goes on, or as the potential case moves along, so that he's getting bombarded with new stuff, and he's going to eventually be, him and his legal team, overwhelmed to plead guilty to a significant amount of this. There's no pleading out to a lesser charge. You plead out to a lesser charge when you are afraid, or when the prosecution's afraid of winning. They don't know if they can win. They'll take a plea because, look, this could go 50-50. We'll take the plea. We'll give you the much lesser penalty because we don't know how this is going to go in court. You could win this, but Rashee Rice has zero chance of beating 14 counts if it does climb to 14, especially some of these more aggressive ones. They haven't even, and they can add it later, they haven't even thrown the leaving the scene portion of all the illegal pieces to this. And so once they throw all these on top, he's going to be forced to look at this from a whole different angle. That's the strategy of Texas right here, is to say, hey, this is what you're dealing with, 8 counts. Okay, is it legal? Team's like, well, what do we do here? How do we, boom, 2 more counts. Oh, boom, boom, 2 more counts. Oh, 2 more. And he's going to be overwhelmed, and his legal team's going to go, you got to plead guilty. You don't want to do prison time. You have to plead guilty, and you're going to miss an entire year. You can't think of it any other way, Rashee Rice. You're going to miss an entire year. What in the hell is Wednesday doing call? Wednesday, I'm in the middle of a monologue. Is this an emergency?
No, but you are talking about Rice.
Has the phone line been open?
No.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
But
you're okay? There's no life or
food
death?
for thought here.
You're what?
Food for thought.
Go ahead. The floor is yours, Wednesday. Don't let me interrupt you.
Sorry. What does the other guy plead to? You know, the other driver. Not the millionaire.
What does
Not
he
the NFL
plead
player.
to? That guy, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that
affect-
he's going to be in some trouble as well. The SMU cornerback that was driving the other vehicle. The problem is this man owned both vehicles. He leased the Lamborghini, but he was, ownership of it lease-wise. He owned or was paying, an actual payment on the Corvette, and he did cause the accident. There's video footage of him crashing into the median in the Lamborghini and creating the 6-car pileup. He's the one that is going to be more responsible than the others, but the other guy, the other driver, also abandoned the scene. He's going to be in some trouble too. He's definitely, but no one really cares.
Both of them are looking at exactly the same charges. 14 counts or something like that.
I mean,
they're both going to have the same
it will
kind of
climb.
lawyers, too.
It will climb. I would venture to say the other guy's going to look at a little less just because he didn't own the vehicles, and there's probably going to be a lot of more pressure on this guy to be paying and footing the bill, but we'll see.
It makes no difference. The
It's
vehicles
good.
could be stolen, and the drivers are still responsible for hitting vehicles and leaving the scene of an accident.
I understand.
The same
I understand.
charges.
But guess
I
what,
don't
bro?
mean
Guess what?
legally,
Life's
financially.
not fair, Wednesday, and they're going to try and make an example out of Rashee Rice. You either skate because
yeah,
you've
he's
got
definitely in trouble.
celebrity status. You either skate because you have celebrity status, or they make an example out of you. It's kind of one extreme to the other. It feels like in this case, Texas is going to say, we've been trying to fix this problem in Texas for a long time now. Spotlight right on Rashee Rice, and guess what? You're not getting off because you're a celebrity. We're putting the spotlight right on you because you're a celebrity. So look, they could both see the same. Who cares? I'm not saying that the other guy shouldn't be suffering the same, punishment. I'm just saying no one's going to care about the SMU guy.
In the NFL, it's going to overreact, and there's no way of pleading down because you're not pleading down both cases. Okay, because you're not Ray Rice. Or, I'm not Ray Rice. Rashee Rice.
What's your point?
Rashee Rice is looking at certain situations with the NFL, but what the other guy pleads in the law will affect what the NFL does because it will have effect what his trial is. And do they get tried together? It's one incident.
You can't use one other person's deal against the other. The NFL is not going to say, SMU guy pleaded guilty to this, but Rashee Rice didn't, and he won or something. It's going to be individually. Like you can't cross streams like JD5 and AR5 do.
Right, but the evidence will be presented in both cases.
Well, look, we'll see.
One
We'll
case
see how
it goes in front of the other one.
We'll see if that's the case, or we don't know yet. We don't know yet. All we know is that what really matters is what I've been saying. Like all these things are minor details, and a lot of stuff will be known later. But 8 counts is going to grow to potentially 12, 10, 14, maybe even more, and it's going to overwhelm the defense into saying, look, I know you thought when you hired us, and I'm sorry, maybe he fires his attorney, tries to find somebody else, but ends up not getting anybody that can do anything about it. His attorney's going to sit him down and go, look, I know you want us to get you off and plead down to some minor thing. There's too much piling up. You're going to have to plead guilty in order to avoid jail time, to avoid prison time, not jail time. Jail's where you go to sweat it off. Prison. You're going to have to avoid prison time by pleading, not pleading down or pleading to a small, by pleading guilty to XYZ, and then you don't have to plead guilty to A, B, and C. A, B, and C send you to jail for 10 years if you plead guilty to it. You can fight it, try and win it, and then not anything happen. But he's going to have to plead guilty to XYZ, which will be like a year of probation, whole bunch of money in restitution and monetary, medical stuff. And on top of that, the league will say, you pled guilty to this criminal charge, not a tiny misdemeanor, not even a criminal misdemeanor, to maybe multiple criminal charges. You are out the season. You're being suspended for the entire year. Wednesday, I got to get back to the news, bro. I appreciate you calling in. You can call in after, okay? Call in after. All right. I don't know what that was about. I love Wednesday. He can call in, but I don't know what he added to the conversation there. Rashee Rice, multiple game suspension is looming no matter what. That's what basically is being said by Chef, like all the other reporters, including this right here. Rashee Rice is expected to serve a minimum of multi-game suspension. Everybody's expecting this thing to come crashing down on Rashee Rice, and it's going to get worse before well, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it concludes, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Let's talk about Brandon Aiyuk for a second. GM John Lynch of the 49ers said about Brandon Aiyuk, our wish is, let me give this a different feel. Our wish is that he's here for the rest of his career. We want him here for the rest of his life. Where do you think Aiyuk will end up? Everybody's posing the question. They still believe, the whole world, that there's still a potential trade opportunity here. And is the question. Well, yeah, because John was also asked if he's received any trade calls on Brandon Aiyuk, and he answered sure. He didn't say this second part only. We receive calls on a lot of players. Usually a John Lynch answer. He usually says, have you received trade request calls on Aiyuk? He usually would say, we receive calls on everybody. And then you're left to kind of dissect it. Well, does that mean yes? He said sure. We receive calls on a lot of players. John's a very good deflector. And if anybody knows John well, and if I've got Niner fans in here, you do, and this isn't a knock at all on John, it's merely me telling you who he is. And if you're a Niner fan, you know this to be 100% true. He's a deflector in chief. He knows how to deflect questions probably better than any GM. Hey, John, what do you think about this problem? Oh, we love that guy. He's great. He's a real, spicy character, and he's always passionate. We love his passion. He's passionate about this topic, and that's what makes us love him, because he's passionate about his contract. Like John spins anything. And so, sure, we receive a lot of calls about a lot of players. No one asked about a lot of players. They asked about Brandon Aiyuk. He said sure, then deflected it to not a big deal, though. And maybe it isn't a big deal. Maybe it is. We don't really know. All that matters, and again, and even media, sometimes you're a hater, sometimes you're not. Today you're not. You said I'm 100% correct. We'll leave you in here. Media's big league. He's big league today. Huge. Nice contribution so far, media. Keep it going. Don't get all wild in here. John Lynch is fielding calls. The Niners are fielding calls. We don't know what those conversations have been. I'm sure the Pittsburgh Steelers had dialed them up. We don't know if they've dialed them up multiple times. We don't know if the Kansas City Chiefs said, hey, you guys interested? And the Niners said, hell no. We have no idea what has happened. We do know the Steelers appear to be the most interested party. We don't know if they are. We know that the Jaguars were once said to be, and we don't know if that's even accurate, one of the most interested parties. There are a lot of scenarios that potentially could brew up if I started to guesstimate, and that's all we could do, right? Because we don't have any concrete info. Some say there's a dumb rumor, just absolute blind, goggled, Niner fandom-driven rumor that the Niners think they're going to get, the Niner fans think they're going to get the number 5 for Brandon. Sorry. This is spreading around Niner pages right now. Hey, somebody asked Raj on his live right before this. I popped into Raj's live. Someone goes, what do you think about if we trade Aiyuk for the number 5? look, Aiyuk's a good player, but let's not get crazy, okay? If you trade Aiyuk for a pick, you'd be lucky to sniff a 20, or a 20 to 31 swap, and then you get an additional pick or something. There's really no chance a team gives even a 17 straight up. Or some might say Aiyuk won't even garner you a round 1 pick, because think about it. And for those that think it's a possibility to get Marvin Harrison Jr. or Neighbors or a Dunze on a almost free deal versus Aiyuk, who you got to pay $100 million, about $60 million guaranteed, about 27, 25, 26 million per season. Like, what are we talking about here? The only trade partners are probably everybody is capable using second round picks, but I don't know that the Niners are willing to part with Aiyuk on an even Steven, like good valuation type trade. So you hear me always talk about, this speculation and that, and people say I'm hating. You'll see Smitty, Aiyuk won't get traded. I never once said he was 100% getting traded. I said that people don't get that when there's a big gap in contract negotiation, a big divide between player and team, whether it be Diggs in the divide being emotional, or how he's acting, the locker room presence, the off the field stuff, whatever, or the gap between player and team is a contract. If it's a contract and the gap isn't able to be closed, even if one person comes a little closer, you get close, you're almost meeting in the middle, someone's got to budge. Call someone's bluff, okay? If this is this far apart and there's no bluff to be called, to call his bluff, how's he going to get there? You guys are this far apart. All it takes is an offer the team can't refuse, and it's done. Doesn't matter what you want for Aiyuk. It doesn't matter what I want for Aiyuk. It doesn't matter what he predicted, what I predicted, how much I want to dig my heels in on a topic you think I'm digging my heels in. None of it matters. It only matters if a team comes by and says, hey, I hear there's trouble in paradise. We'll give him the money he wants that you won't give him. We'll give him 27.5. You'll give him 24. We'll give him 27.5. And we'll give you the number 20 overall. You got to give us a second rounder back. Whatever the case may be. It's not going to be a 20 for Aiyuk, a 19 for Aiyuk, a 17 for Aiyuk. No one's doing that. It's going to be maybe a first and second round swap and then Aiyuk because he costs a boatload. But the truth of the matter is they've received calls. There is a divide. The draft is approaching. He could still request a trade. There could still be some sort of trade request potential float, a little floater. Just a little tiny floater. Just kind of pushed out into the ether. Hey, he's looking at maybe asking for a trade. Kind of what Debo did. Debo requested a trade, but then really didn't, and nothing came of it. But it was a move that kind of tried to motivate and push the Niners. His only leverage is the NFL draft. He has no leverage once the draft's over because the Steelers will draft a wide receiver. The Chiefs will draft a wide receiver. Not that the Chiefs are a likely candidate anyways, because the Niners probably wouldn't want to give Aiyuk to the Kansas City Chiefs. But, you also, there's the argument that if they're not willing to sign him, they can't value him that much. So giving him to the Chiefs for high draft capital, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe if you feel like you're winning the trade, you would trade him to the Kansas City Chiefs if you felt like you're winning the trade. That's another thing I don't get when people say it's impossible for something like this to happen. Or interdivision trade would never happen. I call cap on that one more than you know.
It's cap.
You know why it's cap? Because if you're winning the trade, who cares? Like, are you not going to trade in fantasy with a guy in your division? If the answer is no, then you're getting worked over and smashed to pieces in the trade. If you're getting hosed over in a trade, then yeah, why would you want to trade in interdivision? If you're winning the trade, of course I'll trade in division. Actually, trading interdivision is better than not trading interdivision if you're going to hose the other team. So if the Niners feel they're getting the value, which I don't think they would in many cases, they'd have to get that 31 straight up for Aiyuk to feel like they're maybe hosing the Niners or the Chiefs, because the Chiefs then have to pay a whole bunch of money and they get a free Lad McConkey, Xavier Legette, whatever. Let me just tell you, Xavier Legette, Lad McConkey, Ricky Parasol, Keon Coleman, any of these wide receivers on a rookie deal is better than Brandon Aiyuk. I'm sorry. They are on a $100 million deal for the Niners. So there is an offer that they can't refuse. It's just a matter of, will a team send it? Does anybody want to pay Aiyuk $100 million, $60 million guaranteed, $26, $27 million a year? We don't know. So there are offers coming in. Phone calls have been made. John confirmed it. He wants him there long term. He said that before, and they sent a player packing, so it's not like it guarantees anything. But Aiyuk is very, we believe here at the Fantasy Football Show, turned off by this situation because he feels like he's getting disrespected. And that's natural, right? You want a deal, the team won't give it to you. You want it before the NFL draft because you feel like these teams that might want me won't want me after the NFL draft because this wide receiver pool is so deep. Everyone's going to fill the wide receiver rooms up, and then I got no trading partners. Give me my contract before the NFL draft, for goodness sakes. And the Niners are like, no, it's not how we do it. And then it creates a bad offseason. How did it work out for Debo? How did this Debo blueprint? Debo did it. Debo did it. We know Debo did it. Bob, I've been saying this is the Debo blueprint since the beginning of it. So that doesn't do anything for me. Joe, he ain't going anywhere. This is the same thing Debo did. Thank you, casual. Thank you for the casual comment. Captain Obvious Oscar coming in with the casual statement. We know that because that's what I've said over and over and over. Debo did it. Hashtag in the chat right now, Debo did it. Drop your hashtag. Debo did it. Debo did it. And it didn't work out. Debo had a horrible year. Bosa did it. Hashtag Bosa did it. Bosa did it. It didn't work out. Had a pretty bad year. At least the majority of it. This is not the blueprint you want Aiyuk on. It's not. Not with your window closing. The Niners have 1 year left. I'm sorry, Niner fans, but you have a great chance of winning the Super Bowl this year. So understand I'm giving you a compliment before you start taking the rest of this in a negative way. But your window is closing. Your window was this wide last year. Your window was bigger than any team's window in the National Football League. You guys were the top seed, the top team, the projected winner before the playoffs even began. In my mind, you were the best team in football. And now your window went from this to about this. It's still open, but you're going to have to slide through that sucker now because you got a McCaffrey at 28 years old. That's the age of decline for all running backs minus Derrick Henry. You're 28 years old. You better plug your nose, hold your breath, and hope you get through your 28-year-old season. Niner fans are going to think he's got 2, 3, 4 years left. He's got this 1 year left if you were very, 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 very lucky. Your window is closing rapidly. You don't have time for one more bad year off of a contract year. That's a waste of a year. Are the Niners winning a Super Bowl with Aiyuk having a bad year? The answer is no. How good did you do when Debo had his bad year coming off of his holdout? Very bad. At the end of the day. You know, you don't win a Super Bowl, it's bad. Like you choke in the playoffs, it's bad. I'm not saying that 100 different people watching right now, 200 of the let's say 283 of the 284 people watching, we'll leave media out of this, aren't saying, "Damn, I'd love to have a Super Bowl." You know, even if I just showed up and we didn't win. So there's some solace in that, right? But Niner fans don't want that. No fan base really wants that. The Niners are used to winning. They've won Super Bowls. They have a taste for it. And they want to continue to taste that victory. The Cardinals, I'll be honest, I'd love to be back in a Super Bowl. But I do want to win one as well. Buffalo Bills, I want the Buffalo Bills to win a Super Bowl more than I want the Cardinals to really win a Super Bowl, to be frank with you. It's been a long road, a big struggle, similar to what the Niners feel like they're doing now, but for the entirety of the Bills' existence. But at the end of the day, you fall short. The team's held accountable. The coach is held accountable. Shanahan is never held accountable. It's always this or that. And at the end of the day, I think this is a botched move by Shanny. There are several people that have been giving grades people with, pretty good authority on social media giving grades to the off seasons, and I believe that the Niners and Shanahan were given a C- for their off season work. And look, they signed Aiyuk at the beginning of it, got him signed before the Ridley deal, before the Devontae Smith deal, and you got him happily signed. He probably would have signed the Devontae Smith deal had you presented that to him a month and a half ago. But instead, now Devontae Smith raises the bar a little bit. Now CeeDee Lamb's looking for his money. And if they do decide, the Cowboys, to go off of the script they're currently on and give Dak an extension, that opens up money for CeeDee Lamb. And the Dak extension actually helps the Cowboys push a lot of that money, into different spots to have availability to sign CeeDee Lamb to a long-term deal. And if Lamb gets his bag, you could forget about Aiyuk having any sort of settling feelings for a $26 million per season deal. He'll say, I'll bank on myself. Watch me play ball. This one's kind of, Falcons might face further punishment for potential tampering with Kirk Cousins, which could include a forfeit of a draft pick or draft picks per Adam Schefter. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what gets taken from him. But, they're investigating that one. They always investigate it, but it sounds like this one is sticking a little more than the average one. Kansas City has extended their trio. The trio continues. Veach is one of the, I would say the number one scouting GM in the NFL is probably, if I had to pin it down, scouting GM or scouting brass, somebody in the upper management. Okay, the best scouts there are: Veach, Adam Peters. Best GMs probably going to be Adam Peters and Caserio, but this guy Veach is a gem. This GM, he knows what he's doing. He spots talent like no other than Adam Peters, and Caserio is a great manager of a team, and the things and moves he's made. These are three amazing GMs. And what happens with amazing GMs? You got amazing teams. Caserio, look at the Houston Texans. Veach, look at the Kansas City Chiefs and how they just keep winning. And Adam Peters and what he's done in San Francisco, playing GM, even though he's never granted the title, he comes over to Washington, and he's about to draft JD5, which I don't believe the rumor is JD5 isn't going to Washington. We can talk about that in a second. And this man, Ryan Poles, with the last piece of news, and then from here we'll get into the NFL draft speculation and JD5 and all that. Teams around the NFL have gotten a sense that the Bears want to trade down from number 9, given that they only have 4 picks in the draft. If the Bears stick, a couple of friends and GMs of Poles said they think they'll be looking to add more picks, whatever. So look for him to trade down. Remember, Poles also did a little in-house competition, which is very weird. Where, and I've heard other teams do this before, but I've never liked it, where he's literally saying, think tank, what should we do with the 9 pick? And some could say, hey, that's great, that's creative, you're getting input from other people, but it's like, this is your GM. To me, it's like he's not taking responsibility for where this goes. If he does a little contest within the team, a little staffer contest, whoever wins and gets the most TPS reports turned in by noon gets to decide what we do with the number 9 pick. That way it doesn't come down on me. That's how I look at it. Okay, Poles, make a decision. Don't put it on other people. And honestly, it's very Ryan Poles-like to get rid of this 9 pick and not use it on a Dunze, which would be the easiest call in the history of calls to take a Dunze here to pair with Caleb. But, Ryan Poles, in my opinion, doesn't do what I would do about 9 times out of 10. So there's that. And as for JD5, really no one report to even put up. It's multiple reports. And even our own CT ESPN favorite, Antonio Brown, said that he already heard, and this is where maybe we jump ship on the reliability until he lands one of them. Not that we were counting on him anyway. But he says that he's going to pull an Eli Manning if the Washington Commanders draft him. So that's where I say, oh, damn, CT, ESPN, and I just don't see eye to eye right now. Right now, there's a little bit of a rift between us because I believe that JD5 is going to absolutely be a Washington Commander. I believe And he said he'll be happy to go anywhere. Even when he was posed questions like, "What about Washington? What about the Raiders?" His answer was very on the nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco. His answers were very diplomatic, and he didn't show any telling signs of like, I don't know if I want to, if I get drafted there, I'll go there. He said, "I'll be happy to go wherever I go." In so many words, he basically even shot down trying to give some sort of confirmation about Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce was at ASU when he was at ASU. So Antonio Pierce, head coach of the Raiders, and Jaden Daniels have a connection and a rapport. And a lot of people have speculated that the Raiders will find a way to trade up and get Jaden Daniels. But the only real way this can happen is if the rumors are true that the Washington Commanders and Jaden are at an impasse and they go Drake May. And if they go Drake May, the only problem with the Raiders getting into the 3 spot is that the New England Patriots very much want Jaden Daniels. So this is a lot of moving parts that don't line up very well, and it's kind of like gears that just don't fit. Like there's no way, if Jaden Daniels does fall to 3, because there's no way Washington's trading down to 13. If Washington trades down, it would be 1 pick. Like they either want May or they want JD5, and they want control over who they're taking. They don't want to be left with scraps and leftovers. So the idea that LV can actually get into 2 is a pipe dream, because there's no way Washington's trading out of it. And the idea that JD5 is not going to Washington because of all this stupid smoke, that I coin it as stupid smoke. I label it as stupid smoke. This guy wants to play and win. Kingsbury's a great offense. McLaurin and Dotson he called dogs. He said those are some I forget the exact words he put, but those are some talented wide receivers essentially is what he's hinting at. When Ocho Cinco and Shannon Sharp were grilling him about Washington and the landing spots, they're like, what about the receiving core you get over in Washington? McLaurin, Dotson, and Dotson's very underrated. If JD5 gets Dotson, I'm telling you, we're going to have a little Dotson comeback tour. In fact, I know we crapped the bed hardcore. Dotson's failed all of us, and it's on me because I'm the one that said Dotson was going to fire on all cylinders. This is on me. I'll take a lap. But I'm telling you right now, Dotson's route tree, all the data suggested, it was like green lit across the board when you look at any metric data on Dotson's route runnings, the routes he ran, the efficiency of his route, him getting open, the measurement of him being open when he run his route. It was all really good data. If you looked at just that data, you would say, wow, now show me the stats. The stats got to be a pretty good season for Dotson. And they weren't. It didn't match up at all. And that really goes down to why they got rid of Howell. Howell was very up and down. And for whatever reason, the rapport between Dotson and Howell just wasn't there. His style of play didn't sync with where Dotson was going to be at on the field and the routes he was running and the ways they designed plays for Dotson. And I have a feeling if JD5 goes to Washington, we're going to see Dotson bounce back and have this resurgence. But we got to be careful how we invest in him. He's going very late, so it's not a big deal. It's a very easy move to make. But I like Dotson. I'm not giving up on Dotson. Dotson might he'll be a midseason monster at the very least. Or a revenge tour, I think would maybe be best for Dotson. You guys want to put Dotson on the revenge tour right now? Vote in the chat. Revenge tour or midseason monster? Kind of feels like a revenge tour guy to me. So let's get his face here. Let's pull it down. Jahan Dotson, revenge tour candidate. Do I have an aye? Could everybody vote in the chat, aye or nay, on making him a revenge tour candidate? I think it's a very good choice. I think Dotson is definitely the guy for the job. Where's my revenge tour?
It's time for some revenge right now. Revenge tour, revenge tour. Revenge tour, revenge tour.
Okay, let's put Dotson right here. Dotson's going right here. We got a bunch of eyes. Revenge tour. Dotson. I'll fix it up and make it all pretty later. We got a couple super chats. I told you guys I'd handle super chats immediately when they came in, and I'm sorry if I've delayed on these. Let me hit these super chats real quick. Smitty, it's on me on Dotson, says Rock Out. Rock Out's going to take responsibility. No, Rock Out, I've got this one. I appreciate you doing that, dropping the super, but it's on me, bro. Coble says, I hate the wording in this Rice news report. They make it sound like it could be potentially light from the NFL when the hammer needs to come down. Don't worry, it's going to come down on him, bro. It comes down to what happens, and what happens is probably these counts increase and he pleads guilty. It's more so these reports are saying we're hearing this is not going to be a skating by situation. I think what maybe even is getting, crossed in terms of the news, bro, it might be something along the lines of like people were trying to say this would be a double-digit games missed type of thing, maybe, and people's information got crossed. But multiple game suspension, merely saying that like it's already a foregone conclusion that he's going to be missing multiple games just on the optics alone. And if he pleads guilty, it's an automatic, Coble. Guilty pleads on severe criminal situations, there's automatic suspensions, like a year-long suspension will probably be activated. So don't worry about him skating on that. I'm a 49er fan. Aiyuk isn't getting traded unless there is a trade offer where the other team gives up too much. Therefore, Aiyuk isn't getting traded, says Foster. Well, that's exactly what I said, Foster. So we're in agreement. I appreciate you dropping the super chat. And the likelihood of him getting traded is low, but it's not. He's not getting traded like you're suggesting. I know that's what you want, but he certainly could get traded. Because, like I said, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what I think. It comes down to, is there a divide between player and team? How big is that divide? Can it be worked out? If it can't, then they're going to look to solutions. And if the solution is not a good solution, then they're just going to call us bluff and say, be upset and play on your fifth-year option. We can even franchise tag you, which will piss them off, but business is business. Look, if you're not going to accept a very reasonable offer, this is the Niners talking to Aiyuk, then we're going to let you play on your fifth-year option. We're giving you more than a fair offer. We're giving you Ridley money. That's the most we're going to give you. We didn't even expect to do that, but we'll give you Ridley money. He's going to say, I want over Devontae Smith money, and they're going to say no. So how far is the gap? Does Aiyuk say, fine, I just want 25? Does Aiyuk say, fine, give me 60 mil? 60 mil sounds pretty damn good. I know I'm not getting what I want. I'll get it on my next contract. Or he signs something short, like a 3-year deal, $75 million. And 62 mil guaranteed. So he doesn't sign a 4-year, he signs a 3-year. That way he's taking control and saying, I'll bank on myself while getting 70, by getting 50 mil guaranteed. I'm going to bank on myself, give me 50 mil guaranteed. That's probably if he's going to fold, his best advice will be to sign a short deal, a very short deal. But to suggest, no offense, bro, but to suggest that he's not getting traded is a very Niner thing to say. But I do appreciate you, and of course I appreciate your super chat. I appreciate your support. So thank you, Foster, for dropping that. Call in, dial in. The phone lines are open. Your boy is here to assist. Hit me, do it live. Here's the phone line number. Let me lower this so everybody can see it. Dial into the show. Dial into the phone lines presented by Grindhouse.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Yo. JJ McCarthy is very good leader who improved the last 2 years. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but calling him a bust is a bit early. Landing spot is critical. I don't know who called him a bust. I think JJ McCarthy is going to be a bust, but I think what maybe people are, I think you're seeing probably not eye to eye on the definition of disappointment, maybe. JJ McCarthy coming in and being worthy of a top 4 or 5 pick overall is going to be, in my opinion, a disappointing outcome. If he comes in at 14, 15, 16 overall where he deserves to get drafted, he's going to be a good quarterback. You're getting at most a Goff, and Goff can win. You get a Stafford at most. That can win. But, you're not drafting Stafford at 3 overall or Goff at 3 overall. Or in retrospect or hindsight or anything like that, you're getting those players a little bit later. Like, this is not that player that I believe everybody's pumping him up to be. Doesn't mean he's a bust at all. But I think some people, they define like disappointment and bust kind of similar. Thank you, Matt O, for your commentary, pal. Every QB in this draft is going to seem like a bust because they have to be compared to C.J. Stroud, says Brandon. Maybe, bro, but Stroud, I think JD5 and Penix Jr. can easily be that good. And keep in mind, Stroud was good, but Stroud wasn't like... I think people are remembering Stroud being better at fantasy than he really was. Like, he's a top 5 to 6 potential fantasy quarterback, no doubt about it. But that's still potential, and he certainly isn't in the 1 to 2 or 3 overall territory for me at all. I know everybody wants him to be, but the bottom line is he didn't score like that. Like, Stroud was he was good. He was very, very good, but he was not that's as solid as people remember. He was very good. He was QB 11, and it was his rookie year. He's only going to get better, no doubt about it. But when people put him at like QB 1 and 2, I think it's a little reckless because we just haven't seen that kind of consistency yet. Again, he's going to get better. Here's his finishing numbers. So number 11 QB, week 1 he was QB 22, then he was 13, 12, 10, 17, 12, bye week 23, 1, 9, 13, 4, 15, 30, didn't play, 23, 7. It's a good quarterback. A really good quarterback, but he was top 5 twice. So we can't, how can we lock him into the top 5 when he was top 5 twice? Could he get there? Sure, but let's be patient and not, we got to pump the brakes on calling him a top 5 lock at fantasy when he did it twice as a rookie. Very good, but that's not somebody that's a lock. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's see here. Stroud at this time. Stroud at this time last year was the QB from Ohio State that scored a 9 on his Wonderlic test. I don't think it was the Wonderlic test. It was a different test. But, people doubted him. People doubted Brett Favre because of that test. People doubted, Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was smart on the court. And when Jason Kidd was traded to the Phoenix Suns, he did his interview, and he goes, everyone's all pumped up, and he goes, I'm going to turn this team around 360 degrees. And everyone's like, what? What? Like, Kidd was never the sharpest tool in the shed, but there's an intelligence on the court, there's an intelligence on the field, and even though Stroud proved to be 100% different than that, like, he was smart, and he is a smart kid. People put too much into this test. They put too much into 40 times. They put too much into this. If you look at a guy that I don't even love that much, I like him, I don't love him, Keon Coleman, rookie wide receiver incoming. He had a horrible 40 time. And if they didn't change how they do the 40 in terms of splits and miles per hour and all that, you wouldn't know he had a good combine. He would have come away with a horrible combine. So Keon Coleman had one of the slower 40 times, very disappointing. And then he was the highest mile per hour runner. He reached the highest miles per hour when running the routes out of all the receivers on the field. So it was a remarkable change in combine value and perception of Keon Coleman. And it's a great reminder that 40 times overrated, that, Jerry Rice runs slow 40 time, whatever, but on the field, there's a certain acceleration and play. And, God, how do you run the highest miles per hour on the field, Keon Coleman, and run a horrible 40 time? Start, sure. But even during the 40, where was this acceleration there? I don't know. It's something about being on the field, something about playing. It's kind of like some players can shoot 3-pointers amazingly in a game, and then they don't when they're in practice. It's weird. It's not something you want. But, I'm not a huge fan of Keon Coleman, but it's a great example of what to look for. He seems like a possession receiver that is very dependent on his situation, more than like a Malachi Corley that's going to make things happen for himself. Yak yard machine. Get me the ball in a short yardage, situation or territory, and I'll take care of it myself. Whereas Keon Coleman's going to catch it and then, go down, and kind of like Keyshawn Johnson in a way. Like, Keyshawn was great. I'm not trying to say Keon Coleman will be Keyshawn, because then you'd say, well, that's good. I'm meaning, I didn't like Keyshawn Johnson's game. I didn't like that he was this, possession guy. And you need those guys, of course, but like he wasn't flashy in some ways, and he in my opinion was overrated. Very overrated. I just don't think he's that good, Smitty, but we are going to find out. Who are we talking about? I don't know who you're talking about. All right. Appreciate you all being here. We need a couple callers. You guys are so shy in the off season to start off the show.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
You guys are so shy at the beginning of the show in the off season. You know, during the year, those phone lines are packed. Right now, they're open. You can call in and get advice right now. The NFL wasn't about fantasy back then, says Klaus. Burks would rather go hog hunting, says Cam. Burks is a big waste of space. I told everyone to stay away from Burks, man. He was a bust and a half. Smitty is him. Thank you, Tex. Appreciate you. This is why this show is so good. Actual analysis. Thank you, pal. Appreciate you. Call in, Aldi, if you wanna chat, bro. We got 204 on YouTube. Punch the thumb up button. 204 on YouTube with 104 thumbs up, which is good. We got 96 on Twitter, and we got an open phone line, which, you know, this is like, also, guys, we'll be live the entirety of the 2024 NFL draft on Thursday, and we'll be live at some point, maybe the whole day again on Friday or on and off on Friday. I might want to do some Dynasty shows and some redraft shows and kind of jump on and off both channels. So both those channels are in the description, so make sure you're subscribed to both of them. Kind of feel like it's, you know, Friday I want to use as more of a, have a little freedom to not be committed to a lengthy, I can't stop the live stream on Friday. I want to be able to maybe hit some content, you know, hit you guys with some content, do maybe individual rookie videos like one after the other on Friday. Kind of think that's what I'm going to do. So maybe Friday, get ready to view my YouTube channel all day, and I'm going to be dropping, okay, here's my valuation on you know, Keon Coleman to the Bucks. And I do a quick 6-minute, 7-minute, 8-minute video on that. Boom. See you in 2 to 10 minutes. Then I do a video on, here's my neighbor's you know, evaluation in New York. No, New York, not New York. This is what I'm saying. I'm a horrible spot. I do a video on that, drop it. I think Friday's going to be a free-for-all, massive upload video sesh. Okay? So get ready for Friday. That's what I think I've decided. I'm doing that for Friday. On Thursday, we're live the entirety of the draft, before and after, hours before potentially, and an hour or two after, maybe an hour after is all we'll need. Maybe we won't even go long after because we'll have already digested everything. But we'll be live the entirety of the NFL draft and before. Travis, you tried calling and then it hung up, so try dialing in again. I don't know what happened. Smash the like button, y'all. Number one in the community. Thank you, Sick Nasty. Appreciate you. Man, this whole class is just super exciting. Except for the RBs, but one of them will be. Braylon Allen will be exciting. You know, I think. Or Jalen Wright. You know, Blake Corum could be, depending on where Blake Corum goes. You know, I could get behind. I've been negative on him before, but I could get behind Blake Corum in Dallas. I really could. I don't know. I don't know that I love him as much as Braylon Allen in Dallas or Jalen Wright in Dallas, but I could get behind her. Trey Benson in Dallas would be great. Aldi says, Smitty, drop any of those videos and I'll watch every one. So yeah, I've decided. Thursday we're live the entirety of the day. I'll put a little teaser up on Instagram and YouTube and all that. And Friday is going to be just get on my YouTube channel and wait for videos to drop one after the other on each of the players individually. So I'm going to do a Neighbors one, a Harrison one. I'm just going to do a commentary or initial reaction video on every skill position player in the first round. So that'll be Friday. And then in the second round, as the second round's moving along on Friday, I'll do those too. But I'll be dropping video. I'll have some of them ready. We'll be dropping video after video after video on Friday. Maybe there's even 10 videos. I don't want to overpromise, but I feel like that's going to be pretty easy to do on Friday. Let me go to actually Travis, Marsman, Travis, and then Iceman. Hang tight, Iceman. I'm coming for you. Travis, what's up?
Hey, Smitty, how's it going? Can you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think it's Patriots or Cardinals if someone trades out of the first, or do you think the Chargers could still move?
So Monty Ossenfort will not trade until the draft begins. He doesn't trade before the draft. He trades during the draft. So unless the offer is crazy, he will wait. He will wait. Even if there's a great offer, just because Monty Ossenfort hasn't traded yet, he will wait. He doesn't even want to trade. It's made abundantly clear that he will not trade before he's on the clock. He loves it, too. He thinks he's so... It kind of disturbs me how much he gets his rocks off on everyone watching him work the phones. It's like... It's weird. It's almost weird. I don't like... It rubs me the wrong way. He's like... He loves gathering everybody around. Watch me work the phone line. You know, like he's working some 1-900 number and making everybody watch. He's like, hey, I'm gonna. He gets his he'll probably do a trade that he shouldn't do to just impress everybody, and like I don't. It's not what I want. He's a good value. I guess draft pick value evaluator, but at the same time, he's getting too excited about wanting to move this 4 pick. And if the Cardinals move the 4 pick and they don't at least come away with Neighbors or a Dunze, it is a failed draft. And I will roast Monty Ossenfort and the Cardinals like you've never seen before. Everybody thinks I'm hard on the Niners and I'm hard on Shanahan. I will be doing videos all year long calling for Monty Ossenfort's job. If he leaves this draft without a Dunze, Neighbors, or Harrison, if he trades out of 4 and gets the 11 and they draft a Dunze here and they get to 23, you know what? I'll be okay with the Dunze and Kyler because I love a Dunze. I'll be fine. I'll put my Cardinal hat on that I do have, and we'll celebrate.
Yeah, I had to laugh because I think it was Schefter put out something saying Patriots, are open for business, and literally within like 8 minutes, it was Cardinals say they're open for business too, which we know on both ends, but it was almost like Monty saw that report and was like, quick, put it out there that we're open for business too. Just like you said, he likes that attention. Like, what's Monty gonna do,
Yeah.
So I just had to laugh at that.
I'm sure he watches Draft Day like 5 times before the draft. Monty Ossenfort, he's like Kevin Costner's his favorite actor of all time. This guy's a joke, man. And in terms of I'm not saying he's a joke of in some total. I can't stand the way he's flaunting this 4 pick around like it's trash that he wants to get rid of. We'll get rid of it, Any offer. Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't mean anything to us. I wouldn't trade it.
Hopefully he's got his little piece of paper with Marvin Harrison.
I'm going to have some pieces of paper in my pocket during the draft that I'm going to pull out and see if they're right. So I'm going to do 5. I'm going to put 5 of them I'll put 6 of them, 3 in each pocket, and they'll be predictions, and then we'll see if they're right. Smitty, 12 Superflex. I picked up Stroud, Laporta, Achane, Bateman, Tompkins for Dak, Minshew, Mixon, and Joku Waddle. Did I give up too much? 12-team Superflex. I picked up Stroud, Laporta, Achane, Bateman for Dak, Minshew, Mixon, and Joku Waddle. No, it's fantastic. Stroud, Achane, Laporta for Dak, Mixon. Yeah, awesome. You smashed them. I mean, assuming you got the Stroud side, yeah. Juicebox, that's Smitty approved. That's a fantastic job, my guy. That's a great trade. Smitty approved that right now. As for your question about the Patriots or your comment about it or whatever, get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com, everybody. Year-round fantasy football rankings, bold predictions, all my draft analysis after the draft will be there. Who's more likely to trade, New England or AZ? I'm going to say AZ, unfortunately. The reason I say that is New England's going to be waiting for JD5, and so they're not trading it. And not that Monty trades it on the clock as well, but I just think he's more apt to pull the trigger on the clock. I think New England, are you guys going to be able to pull something off live like Monty does? Monty lives for it.
Yeah. Right. It was interesting today because the rumors, and it could all be smoke, but the rumors were that basically at this point, New England wants, 2 or 3 firsts and a player back, which means they're probably not moving. But the other rumor was that teams like, I think it was, I forget what teams, the Giants and the Vikings maybe, are willing to give up a ton, but they want May, not Daniels. So, that's another factor to it. Because if Washington took May, then now the price for that three pick may actually could be less because the teams want May. Which is, surprising to me because I like May, but I still value Daniels over it.
Wouldn't this be crazy? And then I'm going to go over to Iceman and then to Keith. And somebody else was on the line, but they hung up. Call back if you want to get back in. Wouldn't this be crazy? So New England decides, okay, JD5's going number 2. We're getting an offer we can't refuse from the Giants at number 6. We only have to move down to 6. We can take Penix Jr. or J.J. McCarthy. And they're going to say, we love J.J. McCarthy. The Cardinals likely to go Marvin unless Minnesota steps in here and screws it all up. But New England could get screwed. I could see them getting screwed on this. So they say to themselves, the Giants are offering the 6 and a future first, whatever. We like this. We're going to go ahead and make this move because we don't believe JD5's falling anyway. We've heard it from on good authority, even that we haven't heard maybe. Maybe they've got a more inside track than we do on it. And so they trade 3 down to 6, and the Washington Commanders go Drake May. And then all of a sudden, that number 3 overall is JD5. And, that would be crazy, and even more crazy if the Raiders made that move with New England. I just don't know that New England wants to move so far. Unless you guys decide you're not going quarterback at all, and you're just going to build around what you have and try and get a quarterback next year or in the offseason, then the Raiders could maybe way overpay and then watch Jaden Daniels fall and Drake May goes 2. And then all of a sudden you got Jaden Daniels in Las Vegas, which I would love. But I want Jaden Daniels in Washington or Las Vegas. The likelihood of JD5 not going number 2 is probably way greater than him. I think it's 80% lock he's going number 2.
Yeah, I do too. And real quick, I think from everything I hear, if it's true, that for that reason, though, the Patriots are going to wait and see what Washington does before they make a move.
So will Arizona. Cause,
from everything I hear, they like JD5 like way more than May. And they like May, but
what if they get an offer they can't refuse? But what if they get an offer they can't refuse, and they're assuming we're going to have to, if I was in that conference room and they say, let's wait and see if JD5 is going to fall, but you're like, JD5's not falling. We know he's not falling. Let's take this deal. That's the only thing I could see happening. And then if that backfires, it'll be crazy. But I would say, I would say the Cardinals have a near 0% chance of trading this pick before they're on the clock because Monty's made it abundantly clear he trades on the clock to maximize trade value. That's like his tactic. He thinks he's so smart at it. Mm-hmm. And New England's probably waiting because they want to see if JD5 is available. So no big trade, no big top 4 trades going to happen before the draft. Could the Chargers trade number 5? Very much capable of doing that. Why? Because if they want to go Joe Alt, or they want to go Lyman, but they don't want to draft Joe Alt, then I could see them moving to 11, getting 23, and the Minnesota Vikings having 5. I think somebody's going to move into the top 5 for a quarterback. I think it's either going to be 3, 4, or 5 overall. Out of all the teams likely to give up the pick, it feels like right now the Chargers, because of the fact that the offensive lineman they might want to draft might fall to 11. But we'll see.
I'll let you go to the other people.
All right.
I got to jump. I got to watch the end of the Bruins game.
All right, later, Travis.
All
right, appreciate you. Iceman, you're live.
What's up, Smitty?
What's up?
Hey, I've got a little Dynasty question. It's more of a Dynasty hypothetical, if you will. I am now in possession of 3 first-round picks. It's 1.2. I'm sorry, 1.3. 1.10 and 1.12. So I'm definitely questioning what to do with that third pick. I know we haven't seen like where everybody's going, but just, humor me here. Let's say I'm assuming, MHJ and Neighbors are going to be the first 2 off the board in my league. That's what I'm kind of anticipating. But let's say Odunze goes to the Giants and Brian Thomas Jr. ends up in Jacksonville. Who would you rather?
I mean, this is not even close. Odunze. Jacksonville's not a great landing spot. It's an okay landing spot, but it's not like amazing. Like they misused Ridley. They, they're kind of up and down. I don't understand this, like Jacksonville being a good wide receiver landing spot. I mean, crowded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Indy? How about Indy? Brian Thomas Jr. in Indy or Odunze in New York? That's a more like crazy question. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not passing on Odunze, but I do love Brian Thomas Jr. in Indy a lot. I think the better question would be, how about Odunze in Indy or Brian Thomas, or Odunze in Indy or Neighbors in New York? I'm taking Odunze in Indy over Neighbors in New York. As far as like Brian Thomas Jr. and Odunze, there's too much of a divide for me to pass on Odunze in a dynasty format because a quarterback situation could change in 1 year. And you can still maybe deliver pretty good production. Maybe he's off by 4 or 5 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns, but he could still get kind of close to his numbers. Maybe, who knows? But I do really, really, really like Odunze way more than Brian Thomas Jr. But I like Brian Thomas Jr. a lot more than the average person.
Right. So let's say Bills end up trading up and snag Brian Thomas Jr. Would you still pick Odunze in New York over BTJ in? That one's a lot close.
That one's a lot closer.
Yeah.
Tough to say. I mean, we've gone over these scenarios before. They're really hard to digest now, but it certainly would be a debate. We'd be seeing fantasy worlds everywhere. A lot of people would try and get like, I want to be first to say I'd rather have BTJ over Odunze, and everyone's going to be thinking it. It's not like it's going to be a surprise, bold take. Like BTJ in Buffalo or BTJ in Indy over Neighbors in New York is something you'd have to have a conversation about. You just would have to. It's not like you would do it necessarily, but you'd at least have to have the conversation of, would you rather trade down and get BTJ and get additional draft capital? Nobody should be drafting BTJ over Neighbors or Odunze because you probably don't have to. But like, it's a bigger question about value. Like, can you get more in addition is what I would be looking at. I don't think this is something that you would be drafting. It would be something you're in crafty fashion trying to maneuver.
Yeah. It's the Neighbors at the Chargers and Odunze and at the Giants that kind of have me like scratching my head. I mean, I know anything can happen between now and Thursday. Like, odds are it might not be that, but just how it is right now, I can't.
Because Odunze and Neighbors are pretty identical, the Charger landing spot would determine it. If you're talking about Giants and Chargers, Neighbors and Odunze, whoever lands in the Chargers situation is far better off. And they're close enough that can definitely put, like, if Odunze goes to the Chargers and Neighbor goes to the Giants, I'm drafting Odunze over Neighbors every time. Because they're pretty damn close to me. All right, hang tight, Iceman. Yeah. Keith, you're live.
Hello.
What's up?
Hello.
What's up, Keith?
All right. Let me get to the bottom of this. I got all my buddies at work that can read the future, that know this and that, that think they got it all figured out. They've got all the globe. They can look at the globe.
Thank you, Alan, for the super chat.
Think about this. One of my sleepers in this draft, and I'm a Triple Crown winner. I'm back to back to back. A lot of that's tied to you, Smitty, secret weapon I don't tell nobody about.
Attaboy.
but I got one of them hanging out here as a sleeper, and it's not. You're not going to hear the name and go, "Oh man, that's a big sleeper," but it's somebody to me I think is undervalued in certain circles, and I want to know what you think about him. Marshawn Lloyd, USC. You got any thoughts on him?
I do like him. The only thing I would say is this draft class being so underwhelming, it's negative and positive. The negative is that they're all going to have later draft capital than we want, meaning the teams are less committed to them. So, and some might say that's a dumb theory, Smitty. If a guy's good, he's good. It's not the way the NFL works. Like, if you break through like Kyron did, you're in. You break through like Arian Foster, undrafted free agent, you're in. You know, Rod Smith was an undrafted free agent. He's in, like a wide receiver. You got to break through, though. If you're a late draft capital guy, and Lloyd's going to be probably like, he's not going around 1 or 2. I mean, we know that. If he gets into the right crafty spot, like a murky Houston Texan situation that is not as murky a year from now as it is now, and Mixon could get hurt at any moment, and Lloyd could. Whoever goes to Houston's one of my favorite rookie running backs, because that is just the craftiest spot. It smells like the Saints situation back when Kamara went to it. Very crowded. Nobody thought it was good at all, and I sounded the alarm. I go, Kamara's going to be a top 5 running back, and everyone's like, A, he's too small, and B, that situation's garbage, Smitty. And I'm like, no, it's not. Houston's a great spot, bro. But you're going to need Lloyd to go somewhere like that, because Lloyd's not going to Dallas probably. Lloyd's not probably going to one of the 2. There's probably like 2 landing spots that are good. The rest of them are murky. He needs to go to a crafty little murky situation. A Washington Commanders with Brian Robinson, who may or may not be the future, and then Eckler's older, and then so boom, he's in an amazing offense, climbs to the top. Aaron Jones is older, Minnesota, like something like that. Lloyd to maybe like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a scenario.
What about Arizona? You think Arizona's later in the draft?
They're definitely one of those murky but like potentially good situations, sure. But the problem is the later draft capital, it means less commitment from the team, and they don't necessarily give you a full shot, and you can get replaced very easy. But the good part about draft capital being later for these RBs and being kind of a mediocre class is that any team can take one. Like, if the Dallas Cowboys want, they could take them. Like, they could just wait and take them. But you also could land on the best team in the NFL, because that team's going to be drafting a running back so late. If they do, like, the Chiefs could take them.
Yeah. Well, I think, Smitty, I've never said it like you said it there, but I said amen when you said it, because that draft capital. I've seen that come through and through, and you got me Pacheco a long time ago, and I have a buddy I play with there. It's on my team, and we split the buy-in, and he wanted to trade him, and I didn't, and then we looked like a bunch of fools. But you've helped me time and time again, brother. I appreciate you, and God bless. Have a great night, sir.
All right, man. Appreciate you calling anytime, Keith.
Yes, sir. Will do. Appreciate you, Smitty.
Yeah, Iceman. Thanks again for the super chat, Alan. You're the man. He says, I'll be here Thursday and Friday, both nights after the NFL draft. Appreciate you, bro. Alan to the moon. Iceman, any final thoughts, bro, before I kick you off the line?
Yeah. I want you to review a trade that happened in our league. It was not me. I'm just reading it.
Sure it wasn't. Sure it wasn't, bro.
Okay.
This is one of your friends that made this move? Okay.
Look, I own up to my trade.
Okay.
This one was processed last week. I just thought you'd be interested in hearing about this one. So, one side gets Justin Fields, Ridley, Devontae Smith.
Hold on one second.
2025.
Hold on one second. Ridley, Fields, Smith, and a 2025 what?
First.
Okay.
And the other side receives DJ Stroud and 2024 first-round pick number 9.
Okay, 1.9.
1.2.
Okay, 1.9 is the super flex.
No. Just 1 QB.
I mean, so the way this works, bro, is in a 1 QB, as much as I like Stroud is he's going in the 50s in a redraft setting. In a dynasty setting, he's going to go a little higher, obviously. But he's not going necessarily round 3 or anything. It's like probably round 4. And the fact of the matter is, Devontae Smith probably has higher draft capital than Stroud in a 1 QB redraft or dynasty, or maybe they're pretty close to equal. Who does this team have over here at quarterback? The Fields team, the team that has Fields now that this trade's over. What do they have?
I'm pretty sure he has Jared Goff.
So that's not very good. I think, look, while I love Fields and I think he can prove himself, you're not guaranteed anything, bro. So this is a dumb move.
I'm sorry. No, that's the one giving up Fields.
What's the new Fields owner have at QB?
Let's see. Oh, he's got Tua.
Okay, still not great. So, Tua and Fields, I mean, at the end of the day, value for value, this is a good return. This Devontae Smith and the first rounder and Ridley and Fields, it really is. And I do think Fields proves himself, but he's not a guarantee you can't walk in. You got to buy him at free value because that's what he is. He's free right now. He's a backup. So you buy him as a backup, otherwise you're overvaluing him. This team that has Tua just got worse, unfortunately. But the value for value is pretty even. Like, you can't veto this type of trade. But the value side is even. The Stroud side wins for that particular team. Who did the Stroud owner had Goff? You said so. He upgraded his situation and probably had receivers that were good enough that he didn't hamper him.
Yeah, he's got. He had Goff and Derek Carr, but now he's got Stroud. So, yeah, definitely upgrade for him.
It's one of those weird trades where, like, the value's even, but the Stroud side won.
Yeah. Yeah, he's also got Garrett Wilson and Drake London. Oh, did they not call in and tell you about that trade?
What?
Oh, man. You have like a quick trade recap for just one other one, the CeeDee Lamb trade.
I don't know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
Yeah, so they did this one a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb, and in return, they got Drake London, Garrett Wilson, 2024 third round, and a 2025 first.
I mean, I'd rather have this Garrett Wilson side by a mile. I love Lamb, but, bro, we talked about this. We don't know what his future holds without Dak. Garrett Wilson's a 12-13 turn pick. London's a second rounder in redraft. He's definitely a second rounder in Dynasty. 25 first rounder. This side smashed this side to pieces, and that sucks to say because we love Lamb, but good God.
Yeah.
That guy overpaid. He overpaid for lamb chops.
That was our boy Jack Attack. He called a while back, but he left that part out because he got Lamb, and he knew you weren't going to be happy about.
So he lied to me.
You know, giving Garrett Wilson away for a ham sandwich.
Yeah, it's too much, bro. Too much. I mean, Garrett Wilson's phenomenal. And even if, let's say, Garrett Wilson failed, like, you still got a first rounder in London to try and win the trade, even though I'd probably rather have Lamb over an unknown 25 first, unless you knew it was going to be good because the team was garbage or whatever. But London and a first rounder is more the argument here. You give Garrett Wilson for free? What's going on? Yeah, he got lammed.
The 2025 first round is easily for the worst team in our league. So it's probably a guaranteed 1 to 5 pick.
Jeez. He got lammed. What was his name? Who was the guy?
Jack Attack.
Jack Attack. What in the hell were you doing, bro? You knew I'd be upset. Why'd you do it?
Get lammed.
I know he's watching right now. Dude.
You got lamb basted. Jack, call in. Explain yourself. All right, hey, Iceman, I'm gonna put you on mute. I might hang up on you if Jack Attack calls in.
I gotta go anyway.
All right, call back in. If Jack Attack calls back in, call back in. I don't know if Jack will call. He's probably turning the show off at this point. All right, later, Iceman.
I will, but he's probably gonna hide under a rock.
Well, way to ruin and take away a follower of mine. And call him out like that. You did him dirty, bro. You did him dirty. It's kind of like. Hold on, this might be him. 317 caller. Who's this?
This is Magic Mike.
Oh, it's man. All right, later, Iceman.
All right, see you guys.
All right, Magic Mike. Hold on 1 second. Let me go over to Bruce. He's been waiting. So Magic Mike, mute yourself if you could. No mouth breathing if possible. Bruce, what's up? You're live.
Hey, Smitty, what do you think is best receiver-wise for Josh Allen, fantasy-wise? Like trading for Aiyuk, drafting like a Leggett.
A Dunze without a hesitation in my mind, bro. I'd even say this. I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. I'd rather have a Dunze in Buffalo than Marvin Harrison Jr. in Buffalo. I just feel like sometimes you just feel like a receiver is a perfect fit for a quarterback, and a Dunze does everything. That means that this offense needs him to adapt to certain, like Marvin Harrison Jr. does a certain thing a certain way, and he's going to be great wherever he goes. He's the number 1 overall wide receiver. But for whatever reason, I want a Dunze in Buffalo more than anything. That's what I want. That's what I want for Christmas. If that's all I get for Christmas, I'm a happy camper. As a Buffalo Bill fan, that's what I want. I want that more than anything. I'd rather. This is going to be hard to say because I'm always also a big Cardinal fan too. But I'd rather have the Buffalo Bills get a Dunze than Marvin Harrison Jr. go to the Cardinals. That's how important it is to me.
Here's a question: do you think the Bills would trade up for him? Would they give up like 2 firsts and go to like 8 and say, "Here, Atlanta, we'll give you 28"?
I don't know if you give up 2 first rounders, but you give up at least 1, maybe a second as well, or something like that. And a Dunze's not going, as high as like 7 or 8, so it's not like you're getting a quarterback draft selection pick. Like these quarterback slots are going to cost you multiple first rounders. But I think when you get into the Dunze territory, like if he's there when the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock at 11, you'll see the Buffalo Bills pick up the phone maybe. And if he falls to 12, you'll see the Buffalo Bills pick up the phone maybe. And they might continue to try. But I'd much rather have Josh Allen get a Dunze than anything else in this entire draft.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if it was like an
All right,
Aiyuk or
Bruce, hold on. I got Jack Attack on. I'm sorry, Magic Mike. I'm coming right for you. I'm coming right for you. Let Jack Attack. You're live.
Hey, Smitty. I'm here to defend myself. I'm here to set the record straight.
Okay.
So, yeah, I overpaid, but
you did.
I'm the kind of guy to overpay, and I had the luxury to overpay. So, rather than the headache of dealing with those, at that point I'd have 5 to 6 similar receivers, and I wanted to buy in. I mean, I'll read you my team if you want to. If it wants to be a big joke, I'll read you my 12-man dynasty team right now.
Okay, read your start. I don't want to hear your lineup. Your whole team is. Give me your lineup. Your starters. Go quick.
I want everyone to get the laughs out now.
Okay.
Before I read off this team.
Okay, go ahead. Ha. Jack Attack got blasted. Let's see if he had the luxury. Go. You let me decide, Jack. Go.
All right, Josh Allen, Travis Etienne, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Trey McBride, and an option at flex of George Pickens, Tajay Spears, let's go Zamir White, or Tajay Spears. And I have no picks.
So, that is a good team. That is a really good team. You did kind of have the luxury of making a crazy move, no doubt. At the end of the day, could you still won with Garrett Wilson, London, and then having that potential 1.1? I don't know if that was accurate. Did he depict that 1.1 likelihood of the 2025 first you gave up?
No,
is that accurate?
No, that was not going to be. That was going to. He messed that up. That was going to be a mid to late. That was going to be my pick, which I'm not planning on losing anytime soon.
Oh, so this is your pick?
Yeah.
So why'd you say mid? Are you planning on winning? Isn't it supposed to be the last?
No, they do the NBA.
Oh.
They do like a lottery.
Okay, so look, who was it that called in and ratted you out? I forget already.
That was Iceman.
Iceman, call back in. Iceman, call back in. He was kind of, let me just put it this way. Iceman was kind of like scatterbrained a little bit. Like he was like,
Smitty, they all are. How do you think I end up with that team?
I mean, Iceman, you kind of didn't know. You're like, maybe that was the wrong team. That was the right team. Oh, wait, I didn't go over this one. Wait, I did go over this one. Iceman was all over the place. So Iceman telling me this is likely the 1.1. He screwed that up. And I believe it the way Iceman delivered everything. I'm going to believe that. But look, you had a mid. Okay, it's a very bit different story. Mid 25 first. London, Garrett Wilson for Lamb. I will still say that maybe Garrett Wilson in London serves you potentially in crafty fashion, a tiny bit better or the same. I love Lamb, but we don't know what's happening to Lamb Chops' situation. You can't say Dak will be back. You think Dak will be back. We don't know. Dak's not getting his contract extension, so we don't know. We have no idea. He could walk, and you got a Lamb Chops that doesn't have.
It's also, I know, I get what you're saying, but it's the headache of dealing with those three guys and George Pickens and Jameson Williams, who I'm having some faith in. That's like 4 or 5 guys where it's just like I'm ready for them to prove themselves, and they will. Or get rid of 2 of them and give me Lamb, and I give up another first. I'm like, give me that all day.
The other thing too is you're gonna age out with CMC here soon, so you could maybe use this.
I like Tajay Spears.
Yeah, but Spears ain't no CMC replacement, bro. He's your flex hope and dreams. Pickens and Spears, like that's gonna be your flex forever, because you don't have any depth left, right? What do you have on your bench?
I have Will Levis, J.K. Dobbins, Zamir White. I like Jordan Mason as my backup for CMC. Don't sleep on him. Tajay Spears, Rashee Rice, Alec Pierce, Jameson Williams, Greg Dulcich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna be you're in it to win it now. When you lose CMC, you probably won't have ETN for very long either. I'm just going to say it. I love ETN. I'm a big ETN supporter, but running back shelf lives are short. This guy, I envision like a 2 or 3 year window for him left. And so you're going to have to develop this running back stable, my guy. You're going to have to try and go. If I'm you, I'm attacking this rookie running back class and getting some of the boys that might be easy to get, that have a lot of upside, like the Houston Texan rookie running back, whoever lands there, the Arizona Cardinal rookie running back, whoever lands there, as we talked about earlier. These crafty guys like Frank Gore Jr., grab them. Like just stockpile the RBs. You said Jordan Mason. I want Jordan Mason. I could care less about Jordan Mason. That's not going to help me.
Zamir White.
I like Zamir White. That's good. But you're still going to be hurting, and you just got rid of a bunch of depth to help weather through losing the RB. So, but go win it. Go win cash money. How much is it? Like 1,000? Like what's the total pot? If you tell me, like,
I think it's 70 ahead, which is
okay.
Yeah, 1,000. So like 800, I think.
Okay.
We do.
You go win first place and then start building. Maybe you get 2 years out of CMC though, and you get lucky. You know, like I got a team. I got a team that has CMC, Henry, Kelsey, and I've tried to get rid of those guys for 2+ years running, and no one will trade in this league. And I just keep rolling with it, and it keeps winning the championship. I just keep winning the championship. It's like, that's my team. I'm going to let the wheels fall off. And 2 years in a row, I wouldn't have won the championship if I traded out of it, and I just won twice in a row. And I'm like, I'm just cleaning up. So, don't get crazy. But, all right, appreciate you, Jack, for calling in and setting Iceman straight. Iceman, I don't know, bro. I think as someone said in the chat, Iceman got goosed. All right, later, bro.
All right, see you, Smitty.
Now Jack is back, and Iceman is on the ice block. I don't know if Iceman's going to call back in. I think Iceman maybe became he probably turned the show off. What a change in events. Magic Mike is on the live stream. You're live, bro.
Maybe just call and give you your props, man. Just a long-time listener from last year, man, and just calling to give you your flowers, Smitty, man. Looking forward to
appreciate you.
Coming up fantasy football season, man, and all the positive information that you give, man. You helped me out a lot last year, man. So just calling in to give you your flowers, man.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate being appreciated. I know a lot of people love the show. I know some people hate it. And it's nice to hear it from those that love it, and we'll entertain those that hate it. But it's nice to know that I can honestly, to be honest with you, the best thing I feel that I offer people is that one thing they can count on every single day to get them through their day, whether it's the nighttime. Some people I put a lot of people to sleep. I tuck a lot of people in at night. That's a nice feeling.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of people go to work and they've got an 8-hour shift, and they get to pause this. How long have we been live right now? Hour and 31 minutes. Usually we're at least going that long. They get to pause the show through the entirety of their day, and they get to listen to an hour and a half show every single day. I like being that for people. That's probably my biggest, satisfaction of what I do, is because I know what that feels like. I have things like that too in my life. I have certain shows that I love. I love Netflix and TV and all that, and I binge watch a lot, and there's nothing more enjoyable than having something you can consume consistently, and I hate it when a show is not running for 3 months and they take the summer off. So that's why I think the way I do. That's why I'm year round, and not to mention we go live on the weekends anyway. It's not like we're Monday through Friday only. I do night shows, day shows. But I appreciate that, bro.
Yes, sir, man. You keep it going, Smitty, man. I'll be tuning in.
We'll be live the entirety of Thursday's NFL draft. We'll be live before, and we'll go live all the way through it. So we'll be live a big. I don't even know how long that's going to be. But and then Friday is going to be a free for all day for me, and I think I'm just going to crank out one video at a time. Just boom, 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 boom. And I might go live on them each time. I don't know that I'm going to do any pre-recorded stuff. I think I'm just literally going to go, guys, I'll be back in 10 minutes to do a Marvin Harrison Jr. video. Okay, guys, I'm here. 10 minutes. I might even have a timer. I don't know. And go, here's my neighbor's take. Boom, 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 boom. Be back in 2 to 5 minutes on a Brian Thomas Jr. video. End it. And I think we're just going to do a marathon Friday of live streams.
Love it, man. Love it, man.
And the reason I'm doing that is I want them individual videos. So we're gonna do it that way. All right, Magic Mike, we'll see you later, bro. Appreciate you.
Take it easy.
All right, Joel, you're live, then back to Bruce. Joel, what can I do for you, young man? You're live.
Hey, what's going on, Smitty?
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Well, I just had a couple quick questions for you.
Yeah.
So, a guy that I haven't really heard you talk about, too much on the channel, is Jacoby Myers. And I think that he could kind of be a sleeper this year.
Yeah. Well thought of by a lot of people in the NFL, by the way. I'm gonna pull up his stats from last year and just even refresh my memory. Because I mean, I don't talk about him a lot. I don't love him. I don't think he's, it's not like he's done a whole lot to like. He's never had a 1,000-yard season. Never had a 10-touchdown season. Never had a 1,000-yard season. He's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons in the NFL. And my thinking on that, let me put his stats on screen. My thinking on that is you're almost never, ever, ever going to see somebody play 5, 6 years in the NFL and then all of a sudden just break out and become some consistent. Maybe 1 year he can do it. But after 5 or 6 seasons, come out and just be some kind of like consistent 1,000-yard receiver. It's such a rare situation. The one thing that he's got going for him is like he's had a struggle bus of a QB situation in all of his tenure, essentially for him at least when he's gotten the volume. So like you can't almost even say, well, he struggled in LV. Now we know he sucks or something because he struggled in New England and LV because he didn't have a quarterback. So the 6 touchdowns and 8 touchdowns.
That's kind of what I was thinking, man.
Yeah. The 6 touchdowns and 8 touchdowns.
He never had like a great quarterback, in New England. So now, like, I mean, I know, QB situation isn't perfect in LV either, but it was at least decent last year to where he put up, some of the best numbers that we've seen him have. And how many years was Nico Collins in the NFL before he broke out?
He's entering his contract. He's entering his contract year, so this will be his Nico.
Or was it like 3 or 4 years?
No, he's entering. He's had his. This will be his 4th year. This is his final.
Yeah.
So this will be his 4th year coming up. But Nico, I mean, it's a decent comparison, like to try and say, okay, this guy played 2 years, but keep in mind he broke out his 3rd year, so it's a good thought to try and go that direction. But let me put their stats on the screen. Very different story being told because Nico only played 2 years without producing. And Jacoby's produced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or he's played 5 years without producing. Very, very big difference. So
for sure.
I would say.
I was just thinking, with the quarterback play and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean,
the situation could have been a lot better for Myers.
Yeah, that's what, like I just said, he's never had a quarterback. But the 6 touchdowns and 8 touchdowns in 2022 and 2023 are pretty impressive. At the end of the day, he's bringing something to the table. Let's say Penix Jr. goes to LV or JD5. I think he has a potential for like a 1,000-yard season and like 6, 7, 8 touchdowns. It's certainly possible. Do I think he'll be consistent?
That's kind of where I was leaning. Yeah.
Yeah. Would I draft him as one of my last wide receivers? Absolutely. So it's not like I'm down on him. I just don't see like a pathway for him to become an elite player or anything like that. I think he's gonna always be 900, could maybe hit 1,000 yards 1 out of the next 3 years, and get that 6, 8 touchdowns still. Sure, very, very possible. Especially if he gets a gunslinger and Adams drops off.
Yeah,
Mayer's gonna. I have a higher thought and value of Michael Mayer breaking out and becoming. I kind of think he's going to do this kind of stuff as a tight end in Las Vegas, 805, 806, 807. But I do like Jacoby enough. I don't think it's a bad topic. It's pretty good topic. A lot of people like him.
He's got solid routes, and I just think he's really smooth. He's kind of got a nose for the end zone. You know what I mean? So. It's just a guy that I was drafting. Like
a lot of players talk him up. A lot of players talk him up. Like, hey, who's underrated? Jacoby. I've heard it 3 or 4 times. So, like, a lot of players think he's a great route runner. Adams says he learned a lot from Jacoby. So that says a lot. Adams is a pretty cocky guy.
Yeah. That definitely does.
So, yeah. I mean, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. You're not wrong to be looking. I just don't know that we're going to find what we want. I think it's like one of those things where, like, ESPN 30 and 30 special on how Jacoby Myers was Could have been amazing, and he didn't end up happening.
Yeah.
You know, remember the kid that was supposed to be better than LeBron? The story on that. Jacoby should have been better than Adams, but he got caught up in New England. New England, such a bad.
Yep.
Yeah, it all comes down to quarterback for him. All right, hang tight, Joel.
Man.
Hang tight, Joel. I got Iceman on the phone, and then I'm going back to Bruce, and then I'll come back to Joel real quick. Iceman, thank you for calling back. You got called out by Jack Attack. Jack Attack called you out, told everybody that you said this is a 1.1 lock. He said it's a mid. It's his pick.
Okay, all right. I called back to clear the air. I am infuriated that he said that, and he just texted me and said he realized that he messed that up.
Oh!
I'm looking at his trade now. I'm looking at his trade right now. It's
you guys are
Drake
all
London,
over the place.
Garrett Wilson. It's exactly what I said. And the 2025 first round is for a guy who, I mean, his team is awful. I could read you his team. It's. I would be the most surprised man in the world if it's not at least a 1 through 4.
Now, you're doing a lottery, though, so you can't guarantee me the 1.1. You're doing a lottery.
For the 1 through 6, yeah.
So maybe it's 6. Maybe it's still a mid.
I don't know if we're doing that next year.
You don't know. You don't look. This sounds like a lot of I don't knows going on here. Jack Attack. No, Iceman. I'm sorry, Iceman. I mix you two up. I feel like one of you is telling me one side. I don't have you on the phone at the same time. If Jack Attack could call in, this is like playing, therapist and hearing one story and thinking, okay, now I know what I'm dealing with. And then the husband comes in and tells me a whole different story. Then the wife comes back in and tells me the story. Then the husband comes. Let's just get you both in here for couples therapy right here and right now and work this out. So, Jack Attack.
If he's man enough to call in, I was going to be done for the night, but then,
I was going to be done for the
night. Screenshot. He's thinking that everybody's laughing at me. If
he calls in, we'll open up the court. We'll open up the court, and I'll determine who was right, who was wrong in the reporting of this trade, and I'll also make a ruling on it if he wants to call in. But yeah, Travis said this sounds like a sloppy league, and it does because you don't even know if you're doing the you guys really don't know what the draft order process is going to be, and I don't really necessarily blame that on you unless you're just oblivious to it. But if you guys haven't decided on how you're deciding the draft order, this is one of the sloppiest leagues I've ever heard of. How do you not have that buttoned up?
No. So we decided it for this year. We decided the worst one.
It's still sloppy.
Team.
That's still sloppy. You're trading for this. You don't even know how you're going to decide the draft order. This shouldn't be a revolving door of rules. How do you play in a league like that?
Well, this is our first. It's our first Dynasty year. I mean,
this commissioner.
Next year,
who's the commissioner?
The rules are probably going to be different.
I believe they're going to be different. I believe you guys are going to have completely different teams. I believe this league's going to fold by year 4. Who's the commissioner? Who's the commissioner?
We call him AB, but AB. He's doing our best here. We're new to the Dynasty League.
Antonio Brown.
Antonio
Brown, CTE, ESPN. This is your commissioner. Where's Jack of all? Why is Jack of all trades and Iceman never in the same room at the same time? Is it the same person? I don't know what's going on. You got.
I have a feeling you're going to say that. Look, I'm telling you,
I'm waiting for him.
I'm waiting here.
Okay, hang tight.
I'm waiting for him too.
Okay, mute yourself. Let me go back to the Bruce real quick. Brucey, let me get to some normalcy. Brucey, what can I do for you?
I appreciate you, Smitty. And Grindhouse. My question is, what's better, a big play receiver or a possession receiver?
Case by case, my man. Case by case. There's no answer for that. Marvin Harrison Jr. is different than Odunze. Odunze is different than Marvin Harrison Jr. They're both absolutely amazing. Neighbors is different than both of them. He's absolutely amazing. Tough to say. Like, some of the fits feel a little bit better for some of the receivers. Like, I'd much rather have a Dunze in Buffalo. All right, hold on. Here's Jack Attack. He just called in. Jack Attack. What do you have in response? What do you have in response for Iceman, who just said you got it wrong, calling in saying this is a mid pick? I have a feeling you're not going to agree with him.
Okay, so that pick got dished like 3 times in the past week, and in my head, Adam is right. In my head, the dude that owned that pick went defeated this year, like 0 and whatever. But so it's kind of a valuable pick, but it's been getting tossed around the league like a sack of potatoes, and I got confused. But yeah, it's going to be a 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4 in 2025.
I do have to say that this league is sloppy. I think that Poppy's sloppy. Whoever's running this league, this is just a Mickey Mouse situation. I give this league, I say you're back in this courtroom within a calendar year. I don't think this thing's going to get resolved. If I don't step in and do some sort of mediation, I'm deeming your commissioner needing to solve and solidify the rule book and cement it in by this time next year. If you guys don't do that, this league's falling apart, and all of you are going to be back in my courtroom and in the system consistently. There's just no way. You can't have an evolving rule book.
That's why CMC is the 1-1. That's why.
Yeah, you know, the real winner here is Jack. God, I forget who's who. Jack Attack. Because Jack Attack's playing for the now. Because Jack Attack realizes he's playing in a Mickey Mouse league that could fold at any moment. And this is the type of league where people say, I screwed up all day long with this team. Let's just redraft. Let's do a vote. Let's vote on redrafting. This is absolute mockery of Dynasty I've ever seen. You guys better settle on a rule book. And in my opinion, in order to change a rule, it needs to have 8 votes out of 12. Are you guys? This is a 10-team league, isn't it?
Iceman is melting.
This is a 10-team. There's no way you got 12. There's no way you guys got 12 guys. This is a 10-team league, right?
I swear, it's 12 man. I swear.
It is 12.
You're under oath, by the way, gentlemen. Who is making all these noises? You know, I added Donnie from AZ, but I think he's the problem. I just deleted him, and everything went quiet. Donnie, what are you doing? Calling into the show, blaring the background noise, mouth breathing. I hear myself screaming and yelling.
He's probably in our league. I don't even know it.
It probably is. Invite him, because you're going to need a replacement, because 2 or 3 people are dropping out of this league every year. All right, my final determination on the trade. Let me go back to the trade. Assuming that, can we agree that this is a 1.6 pick or what? What are we doing here? Is it 1.4?
No, 1.3.
1.3. Is that okay with you, Iceman?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm going to say I'd rather have the Garrett Wilson London 25 first rounder that's most likely a 1.3, because Garrett Wilson and London are going to do your lineup right in a way that I think I worry about Lamb enough. Hold on one second. Let me make my ruling. I worry about Lamb enough in the future with Dak Prescott and this divorce that's likely going to happen, that I say to myself, give me the London, Garrett Wilson, and the 1.3. I'm sorry, even with your team, doesn't change anything. Your team even makes me almost want to protect the accessories on the outside, the peripheral pieces, the Josh Allen over on this side, the Lamb and the Chase and London and Garrett Wilson on this side, because the running backs could potentially fall apart at some point. I'm going to go ahead and say, no matter how stacked you are, you're giving away free money. I believe that Iceman is mostly wrong in the presentation of all of this, and I blame your commissioner more than anybody, but I'm still going to be a fair ruler here and say that I favor on the side of the Garrett Wilson side.
All right. I have one. I don't have to deal with the headache of picking week in and week out. You know, I could set my lineup and go to sleep at night, and that's all good, and that's worth something to me. You know, that's another point.
Well, as long as you're keeping the straight and narrow path, my young man, and you don't present yourself in my courtroom again, I'm okay with it. You do you.
We'll be back.
I can guarantee you you'll be back. These punks right here, these guys are nothing but a bunch of punks that'll be back in the system before you know it. Back in the system.
Dynasty. That's the name of our Dynasty league.
Yeah. Let me guess. Let me guess what field of work you guys work in. Let's see. Iceman. Let's see. Iceman is in a call center.
You're not far off. I mean,
I'm not ripping on call centers. I'm just. Where do you work? What do you do?
I said I'm in sales, but I do make a lot of phone calls.
Yeah. Okay. And Jack Attack.
Hey.
Jack Attack is a little wilder. He's in some sort of. He's using his hands. He's not a guy that sits in an office. He'll quit that job before he would. Jack Attack would never ever sit in an office. Jack.
That's pretty damn close, Smitty.
Jack, what do you do?
I work at a nursery. I'm dealing with plants all day, plant shit and digging shit.
He uses his hands. He uses his hands. Nursery Jack. I love it. All right.
Smitty, you want to hear?
He's putting that psychology degree to work
together.
What, Jack?
Me and Iceman are in a band together.
I don't doubt it. Let me guess. Jack Attack is the singer, right?
He's good.
Yeah, I knew it.
Good.
And you, my friend Iceman, God, you seem like a bass player.
He's the drummer.
Okay, drummer, bass player.
I was going to say drummer.
Definitely background.
No, he plays lead guitar. He plays lead guitar.
Okay, he doesn't even know what he does. The lead singer doesn't know if he plays guitar or drums. What's going on here?
No,
what kind of Mickey Mouse band is this?
That's the other dude whispering. I don't know him.
Okay. All right, Jack and Iceman, we'll see you later, bro. Get back to the nursery. Get back to sales calls. Keep Smitty plugged in your ear at all times. I'll see you later.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Oh, jeez. That was like taking a dump. Let me go over to the Bruce, let's go over to Travis, then back to the Bruce, then back to Joel, and then I'll end the show. What do you guys make of that circus act?
Yeah, I was just calling in to say I think they should dump the whole league and restart it.
They're gonna. Don't
Too much
worry.
of a mess.
Don't worry. Give them 2-3 years, and they're out of there.
Well, that's what I mean. Just beat it to the punch and just start it now. Start it over now.
Yeah.
Too much of a mess.
Yeah. Man, that was a wild one. Anything else, Travis? Before I jump, I'm going to leave for the night.
No. I was just calling just to comment on that. I know you were heading out pretty soon, so.
I mean, I will admit, I knew Jack of Jack Attack was a man that was outside, working with his hands, either a mechanic or working on something. I didn't envision plants, so I'll be honest. I did. That was a little bit of a shock, but I knew he was working with the mitts, and I could tell that Iceman, more reserved, behind the phone, trying to accomplish a specific goal in front of him. He's very narrow focus. Jack is the guy that let's go to Mexico. I got the Jeep. I got the top off the Jeep. We're just gonna do it. And here's Iceman trying to calculate his time off, and he can't just
gotta
jump.
have an itinerary.
Yeah, he can't just jump him. He's the drummer. Or what do you say? The drummer. He's the drummer. So he's behind the glass. He's very, very laid back, and Jack's just out there with the shirt off, screaming and yelling. And it's probably some, I don't know. Is it like reggae or grunge? What are they singing? I didn't even ask.
That would have been a good question.
I don't know. I wonder if they could put on a live performance for us on Zoom.
Write a song.
I'd be interested.
For their lead.
Guys, send me a show, a little intro. Write it for me. All right.
Maybe they got a They must have something recorded they can send you.
We got a singer if they ever need a backup vocalist. Rock Out can jump in. All right, Travis, appreciate you, bro.
Put some lyrics. Yeah, you on tonight? Or you probably not.
I'm gonna try to get on Dynasty. I don't know.
All right, if you are, I'll see you there.
All right, later. Joel, any final thoughts or questions, bro?
Yeah, man. I just had one other guy that I wanted to ask you about. There were some other guys, in the industry that have been kind of touting, this guy is like a sleeper guy, rookie guy coming into the draft class this year, who basically finished in the top 10, like compared to his classmates, like in the top 10 of every metric almost, that's important. Like every metric that's important and, in fantasy eyes and whatnot. And that's Malik Washington from Virginia. Do you have any thoughts or any opinions about him?
Yeah,
either way.
I like him. He's got a lot of ability. A lot of people are trying to say he's the next Tank Dell, he had good stats. I mean, you look at, he didn't have like a very big amount of resume where he's dropping like massive wads for multiple years, but his final year was nice. His second to last year in 2022 was pretty good. I'll put his stats on the screen so people can see. But Malik Washington, let me also screenshot this real quick. Hold on.
Like that was exactly who I was imagining comparing him to, was Tank Dell, because he's a little bit older. He's 23, this year coming into the draft.
Yeah.
So,
All right, here's.
I think he's got that dog in him, like Tank does.
He does. I like him. I like him a lot. He's got like I said, a nice stat line. Let me put it up in front of everybody real quick. Hold on. Let me switch screens. All right, so here's who he's talking about. His name's Malik Washington. A lot of people will say to me when I put up my Leggett and Malachi Corley content, they'll say things like, "Oh, what about Malik Washington? He's way better." So he is a very trendy pick for people that want to be anti-Corley, anti-Leggett, and they want to be something different. I like him a lot. Again, 110 receptions, 14, 26, and 9 TDs. Great 2023 season. Metrics look good. He's 5'8", 194. Not necessarily a big problem, because we've seen receivers do well in the NFL at a smaller size, but the 5'8" kind of concerns me. And I don't know if he measured in shorter than that, because that's his ESPN listing. I don't know if he came in shorter and ESPN didn't update it or not.
I'm not sure what it was, yeah.
But, Tank Dell was, just so people know his weight and everything, he's 5'10", 165. That's what he's listed as. And it's a tough thing to evaluate Tank Dell, who's taller by 2 inches in weighing like what he weighs, versus a guy that's shorter that weighs what he weighs. I would say it depends where he goes, and he cannot be an elite player if he doesn't have an elite situation. Tank Dell needed kind of the same thing, though. It's not like Tank Dell would have climbed a depth chart wherever he went, because a lot of coaches would have said, "You're too small. I don't want to use you as a full-time guy." So Malik Washington's got to find a coach that believes the same thing. So he's going to be more situation dependent than really anybody. So it's fun to like him. It's fun to talk him up. But I mean, until we know his landing spot, it's kind of, we're stabbing in the dark.
Yeah.
But I like his skill set. I like what he brings to the table. But as a prospect, he's not ranking high enough to know where he's going, because he's going to fall into like an ambiguous territory where anybody could take him, even a team that doesn't necessarily even need a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's why I'm just kind of interested to see where he ends up. So we'll find out here soon.
All right, yeah. Later, bro.
All right, man. Take it easy. Thanks, Smitty.
Scuba, you have about a minute. I'll give you a minute, bro. I'm on the way out the door.
Hey, sorry, Smitty. I didn't even realize that you're live, man. Just been getting the process of buying a new car and stuff, so I didn't even see that you're live. So once I finally saw that you're in there, man, I wanted to check in on you.
How old are you, Scuba?
I'm in my 30s.
Okay. What line of work do you do?
I'm actually about to be in about a couple weeks. I'm actually about to be working for the post office in my area.
What's Scuba buying? I'm going to predict what you're buying.
All right.
Brand new or used?
No, I used.
Let's see. He's driving a mail truck during the day, so he wants to be driving faster during the night. Or maybe he's cruising. Are you going for like a fuel efficient type of thing, or are you going for a little bit of show?
Yeah, fuel efficient.
Honda.
Right
Honda.
No, you're close. I was driving.
Subaru.
I was driving that as my rental for a little while.
Subaru.
No.
Toyota Corolla.
No, Nissan Altima.
Okay, nice. Well, good work, Scuba. We love having you here. I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Monday through Friday. So, if you're surprised I'm live, all you gotta do is look at the watch. Maybe the new Altima will have a correct, timepiece on the dashboard that'll let you know when we're live. Appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you too, man. Appreciate the work that you do. I actually wanted to talk to you just about Trevor Lawrence, because I know that I saw that you did the Mahomes video. I watched that earlier about him being a breakout. So I'm definitely going to try to keep an eye on him, see where he falls in like the home leagues. But because like you at the last call, you were just talking about like where you want Washington to go. What are your thoughts on like who do you want to see like Trevor Lawrence get at like wide receiver? Because they just lost Calvin Ridley. I know they got Gabe Davis, but Gabe Davis to me like he was like streaky even with like a Josh Allen. Is there like a wide receiver that you would like in this draft that maybe they could like help like Trevor Lawrence get back on like everybody's graces as like being like a decent like prospect to pick up? Or what do you want to get your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I don't love the Jacksonville Jaguar situation. I know they're like kind of I don't know. They're kind of like a place where everybody talks about a wide receiver landing, but you got Kirk, you got Gabe Davis, you got Zay Jones. It's really crowded. So I'm not rooting for anybody to land there. But who do I think fits the bill? Well, Gabe Davis is not a big body possession receiver. He does a lot of crafty things. Kirk is not a big body possession receiver, so they probably will look to a Leggett type of player, a Brian Thomas Jr. type of player. I don't want those guys to go there, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess in a way I think it would be intriguing at the end of the day that I don't know how much I believe in Gabe Davis. I don't love Christian Kirk. So if Trevor Lawrence does develop, then maybe this helps Trevor develop. It's not horrible. I don't know that I want it, but it's not horrible. Definitely there could be worse landing spots, no doubt about it. It's not the end of the world. If Brian Thomas Jr. went to Jacksonville, I'd eventually circle around and here's the pros and cons. But I wanted to go to a place with very little cons where I'm like, yeah, this is what Indy, let's go. That's going to be the reality of the situation. When a player doesn't land where we want, how much can they grow there and still make it better? So we'll have to see. And as for the Patrick Mahomes, for anybody that didn't see the video that's up already, Patrick Mahomes is 100% a Saturn man now. And for anybody that thinks that's ridiculous, it's a very, very, very easy to determine type of situation for me. He is the biggest value outside of Kyron Williams. He's the biggest value in fantasy. His ADP is between 5.1 and 5.4. That means he's your 5th drafted player. He had a horrible season, quarterback 8, where he was QB 7, 11, 5, 17, 11, 7, 1, 30, 12, bye week 15, 8, 16, 20, 14, 16, 25. Didn't play. All over the map. But the one thing I know for a fact is that he is an elite player that got back on track. So did Travis Kelce. I don't know that Kelce is going to be the same player he once was, but he could be, I believe, a close version and have a good year. Pacheco I love Hollywood Brown, the addition. I think he's going to do wonders. I think Hollywood replaces Rashee Rice 100%. I know a lot of people are going to say no, but I think he will. I think he'll 100% be able to replicate what he had with Rashee Rice with Hollywood if Rice doesn't play a single down. But Rice still could play. And on top of that, they're going to very much plan as if he'll be suspended for the year, and they won't know. They will have zero clue whether they'll have Rice at all by the NFL draft, because the NFL draft is Thursday. So they're going to be taking KC a wide receiver likely at 32. So Mahomes' wide receiver room, even if you take Rice out, will be better in 2024 than it was in 2023. And if Rice does return for a majority of the year, or they delay the suspension until 2025, he'll still be, I think he'll be struggling in his head, and he won't be the number one all the time. He'll rotate, he'll struggle, he'll be a head case, he'll be on and off the field, he'll have legal troubles and such, consuming his mind. But I do believe that Mahomes is going to be an absolute steal and gem in the 5th round for anybody that wants to partake in building a team that has your 5th drafted player being Patrick Mahomes, a guy that could arguably be the number 1 overall scorer in fantasy, the deepest player you can find that has the ability to be the number 1 overall scorer in fantasy in deep round 5, mid round 5. That is the craziest thing to me. And that value is better than any other Saturn man's value. So if anybody says, how are you calling Mahomes a sleeper? He is 100% a sleeper because people are sleeping on him. And I give you the Saturn men.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
And we did move AR5 to the Mars men. It's not a demotion. It's just... It's a little bit more fitting given where I'm on the clock and I've got Mahomes and AR5 there, and I'm drafting Mahomes every time over AR5. I had to swap them. So that's why we made that announcement. The video's up if you want more details on it. And if you take Mahomes' 2022 stats instead of last year's and you pair him up against, the 2023 finishers, he was in the top 1, 2, or 3, depending on the scoring. You throw McConkey on KC. Tell me what happens. Throw Ricky Parasol, maybe the next Julian Edelman, on the Kansas City Chiefs. Tell me what happens. All right, Scuba, appreciate you, bro. Calling later.
Hey, I appreciate you too, Smitty. If you do any drafts or anything tonight, I'll hop back in, man, and I'll just hang out.
Thank you for your serving of the mail, and that's a good job. A lot of people have talked about how the post office, you put in your time, bro. They take care of you long term. So just put a smile on people's face. Don't be one of those people that throws the mail, at the door. Here's your box. Boom.
Hey, Smitty, just think if I end up going down to Arizona and you you're looking at digging and you just see me just throwing your mail over.
Yeah, you just if you're my postman, I'll put a camera out there, and every time you deliver mail, you'll be live for a 1-minute interview. All right, later, Scuba. We'll see you later.
Later.
Bruce, any final thoughts?
I appreciate you, Smitty. I do have one last question. Why do people get so hyped on stats? Why is it so important to them?
Again, case by case. I mean, like anything, it depends on what the stat is. If why do people like 40 times so much? I mean, it's better to have a good 40 time than not, but it doesn't necessarily tell a story. If the guy you absolutely love goes and runs an amazing 40, then all of a sudden the 40 matters. You're like, holy crap, I already liked him. Now he's running the second fastest 40 in the class. So I think a majority of what stats do, to be honest with you, bro, is validate what we're already thinking, or we cherry pick them as human beings to paint the narrative we want to happen. And that's the unfortunate thing. You got to be able to not do that. You got to be able to look at stats and be like, okay, you can't look at stats and go, if I make it down to the last 5 games, then it tells a good story. Now I'm only going to talk about his last 5 games. He was this. You got to look at the whole thing. But stats are very good predicting the future. They're not a guarantee or a lock, but they help you. They're a guide,
Yeah, 'cause I was looking at it and I was like, wait a minute, this guy was better than this guy, but in like all the stats and like at the combine, but then you look and then they're ahead, and I'm like,
well, let me ask you this question.
Doesn't that make any sense?
Let me ask you this question: If I tell you that Jahmyr Gibbs he was first in the NFL in top 3 running back finishes with 6 top 3 running back finishes, he tied with Christian McCaffrey for first in the NFL. Does that stat not tickle your fancy?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, stats aren't bad. They're not the bad guy, but I think a lot of people they overvalue stats, especially these Excel sheet Erics that are like, that wide receiver is 22 and this guy's 22 and a half, or he turned 23 already in college. He's done. He's not going to succeed according to the stats and data. Like, that part bothers me. But like production and proven ability in the NFL, like Jahmyr Gibbs having, 6 times he finished as a top 3 running back. 6 times he was a top 3 running back. He was second in the NFL in top 5 running back finishes, and all five of them were his top 3 finishes. That means he didn't finish in number 4 or 5 ever. He finished 1, 2, or 3 6 times. Crazy. You look at Jahmyr Gibbs' game log. He wasn't used really in week 1, 2, 3, or 4. Didn't play week 5 or 6. Didn't get unlocked until week 7. And he did all this. Go look at some of the comments on the Jahmyr Gibbs number 1 overall video. And that wasn't to say to draft Jahmyr. I don't know where people get this. I was saying, can Jahmyr Gibbs be the number 1 overall running back? Can he become that? Can he finish like that? The answer is yes. Right. And you go look at the comments where people are trying to fantasy explain me. That can't happen with Monty there, Smitty. Blah, 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 blah. It can't? Are you sure about that? Because are you sure about that? Because right here I'm looking at a guy that if you use week 7 on and you extrapolate that from week 6 back, I'm pretty sure that's running back 1. Or it's in the conversation. He's at the table rotating with number 1. So whatever you want to think or however you want to explain your anti-Jahmyr Gibbs take and talk about Monty's mid. Like one guy said, Smitty, I appreciate him. I'm not trying to call you out if you're watching, but he's like, Smitty, I usually agree with you, I think is what he said, but, can you give Monty his respect? Look, Monty, is this the Monty stat? No, that's Stroud. Where's the Monty production? I think it's one of these. Let me drag it on here. That's Mahomes. Hold on, I got it here somewhere. Hang tight. We're almost there. Here's Monty. Monty stats are right in front of your face right here. This was the most mid running back. Let me put it up here on the top. This is the most mid running back you'll find last year. He was running back 17. That's mid, right in the middle of the league, right? In fact, it's right. greater than mid. It's it's not even mid really. So he's past mid range in running back ranking on the year. He was running back 16, running back 21, didn't play, and this is where he did his damage. And he created a lot of PTSD on 2 weeks. All he did was good in 2 weeks. He only did good in 2 weeks last year. He was running back 2 in week 4, running back 5 in week 5. And everyone came out of the woodwork. Smitty, you really screwed the pooch on this Jahmyr Gibbs pumping up that you did. You owe everyone an apology. And people came into my live stream left and right and said, Smitty, I ruined my team because I took Jahmyr Gibbs in the 3rd round. How dare you? I'm unsubscribing to your channel. And then he's running back 45, gets injured, doesn't play. Bye week, running back 12, 13, 15, 17, 26, 23, 15, 23, 28. He was as mid as it comes. And for somebody to be like, Smitty, like in the comments of that video, give Monty the respect he deserves. I am. I'm calling him a mid. He's mid. He's mid.
Because I had someone
That's
tell
respect.
me he's
I'm not calling him trash. I'm not calling him the worst running back in the league. I'm telling you Monty's mid because he's mid. He's number 17. That's the definition of mid. What do you want me to do? Make something up because you own Monty in 17 leagues? Monty's not the threat. Monty played well twice. And for some reason, everyone's remembering this stretch. Even I was thinking it was a little longer than 2 games. I'm like, remember the time where everybody thought Monty took over? Was it really only 2 weeks long? Like, give me a break.
Yeah. Yeah, because someone in my league, they laughed at me because I said I had Bijan ranked number 1. They said, he's like, he's in a crowded backfield. How can you enjoy him that much? And I'm like, what?
Also, just sorry to pretend what you just said didn't happen. I'm trying to jump back real quickly. Monty coming off the bye week, okay? He was hurt, and they gave him the bye week to get a little healthier. Comes back healthy, and don't tell me, injury. He came back injury. Kyron came back injured, and I think he was running back 1 or 2 the week he came back injured. So let's not act like that can't happen. So Monty running back 12, running back 13, 15, 17. While Monty was on the field, running back 2, running back 3, running back 3, running back 3, and then again, what did Detroit do in week 18? I'm not even concerned. I'm not even including Monty's 28 in week 18. I'm not going to look at week 18. This is a running back that finished inside the top 3 4 times in the final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. Half of his games with Monty from the week 9 bye on were top 3 running back performances. If you think Monty's a threat, I have a bridge to sell you. I does the most ridiculous concern in fantasy is that Monty's going to hold back Jahmyr Gibbs. You own Monty in 7 or 8 leagues when you say something that ridiculous.
Yeah, because like I said, this guy was the I forget what, but he told me because I have Bijan as my number 1. He says, yeah, but he was in a crowded backfield. I was like, yeah, well, that was Arthur Smith.
Yeah. Alan, appreciate your super chat. Alan said, thank you for all the hours and research. I already commented on that, but I wanted you to know that I see you, and I said thank you earlier, but I appreciate you. Calvin Krim, hey, Smitty, which one of these new coaches? All right, hey, Bruce, I'll see you later, bro.
I'll see you later. I appreciate you.
Yeah, Adam, very blessed indeed. Hang tight real quick. Glad to have you call in. You haven't called in a while. Hang tight real quickly and let me get to these super chats. Hey, Smitty, which one of these new coaches will be good for their running back room, for the wide receiver room? Harbaugh, Quinn, Canales, Mayo, Pierce, Callahan, McDonald. I think, I love Quinn. I think Quinn's going to do a great job, and I love the OCs more than anything else in some of these situations, like in Atlanta, in Washington. So I wouldn't always put it on the head coach. I think Harbaugh is going to be tough to predict. I think he runs and uses defense, and I think he's more disappointing, Harbaugh, in fantasy than anything else. I think Quinn and his entire staff are going to do amazing things. Not so excited about everybody else yet until we know what's what in terms of what's Pierce's quarterback look like, how aggressive do they get in the draft. So right now I'm going to say Quinn and the boys there, but we'll see what happens. Calvin, it's a great question, but we're waiting until after the draft really with the quarterback situations for a bunch of these teams. So I appreciate you. I will say that Carolina Panthers are going to have a really, really, really bad season, in my opinion. Joe Salters with the $5 hauler. Is there any scenario where you draft Bowers at 1.2 over any wide receivers in a 1 QB dynasty rookie draft? Also, would you trade the 2.2 for Debo? I'd rather have Debo than the 2.2. Debo's still a top 10 wide receiver, in my opinion. He's the best yak yardage player in the entire National Football League, and he's capable of being a top 12 wide receiver any season he's healthy. I do worry about injury, but I'm not giving the Debo up for a 2.2. No way. And as for Bowers, if it's a tight end premium, sure. If not, no. He's player number 4 for me in a 1 QB non tight end premium. He won't be any higher, and he won't be any lower. Unless the right running back falls to Dallas like Braylon Allen, I think maybe we have a conversation. But Bowers is right after the big 3 wide receivers. Him and BT, like I guess if Brian Thomas Jr. goes to Buffalo, maybe he leapfrogs Bowers, and then Bowers is 5. But he's easily my 4 or 5 in a 1 QB. He's not my 1.2. Thank you, Joe. Joe, I'm sorry if it took me so long to get to that one. And Calvin, I'm sorry I missed yours as well right away. If you guys drop super chats, I'll try and hit them right away. I'm getting better at it. I'm sorry if sometimes I get on a rant. Coble, thank you. Foster, thank you. Rockout, Juicebox, Calvin Krim, Alan M, and Joe Salters. Appreciate your super chats. They help keep the lights on here. So very much appreciate all of you. And can you guys sound off and let me know that you heard my response? I want to know if Joe and Alan and Calvin Krim are still in the building. I very much apologize for the delay. Adam, very blessed indeed. You haven't called in a long time. No excuse for that, but we're glad to have you back. What can I do for you? You got 30 seconds to a minute because I got to get out of here.
Hey, what's going on, Smitty? Yeah, I got no other excuse. I work nights now, so I don't get to come as much as I used to. Very interested to see how the draft's going to go this year. Tough break last year with Tank Dell getting hurt. When he did, I was smashing before that happened with, my 92% in best ball. This year, I think, obviously, Bijan is going to take the number 1 spot like he should have had last year. Been taking him basically anywhere if I don't get the first pick. I forced myself to be a little smarter this year and take some players, even if I'm not too fond of them, just to have a little bit of a
you got
a little bit better this year.
And the reason I say that over and over is like, again, if you're in round 1 and you get the 1.1, you're going to have this. Here's 1.2, 1.3, all the way down. We'll just call this 1.10, 1.11, and 1.12. So when you get this 3 through even like 1.8, you're going to have so many chances to load up on Bijan in all of these picks. And the majority of your picks will fall into this big, chunk here. So use this pick, and this pick to get your Lamb, your Hill. I've even taken JJ at 1.3 just to make sure I build wide receiver round 1 teams with, Achane or Barkley in round 2. And I know that's a little higher than I need to take them, but in best ball, I'll force some things sometimes. But I don't take Bijan. I've taken Bijan at 1 in a couple drafts just because I wanted to build a Bijan team with the 24-25 turn picks because you can build a different team. So I do force it a couple times, but on average, I'm taking my CMC shares at 1.1 because I'm never going to get other opportunities. He's not falling very often at all. So, like, this is where you got to take your chance on CMC in the leagues. You take your chance on CMC, and you need to because it's as risky to doubt him at 28 than it is to bank on him. So you need to take him. But yeah, I agree with you. You're going to have so much opportunity to draft Bijan built teams in this entire range here. You got to pick and choose where you take the other guys. So I agree.
I heard you talking about the wide receivers in Jacksonville earlier, and I personally think Gabe Davis has a chance to
30 seconds.
Prove doubters wrong this year.
Yeah.
Because he went to Central Florida.
I like him.
He's going to be playing in a lot more domes and stuff.
15 seconds, Adam. 15 seconds. I got to cut you because I'm here an hour longer than I was meant to.
No,
so
you're good.
Go ahead.
Good.
10 seconds. No.
I'll try to call back when
here,
I get
I'll give you a fresh 30, but just so you know, you got 30 seconds. Go. Keep finishing your thought, but I will hang up after 30.
Okay. But I like Gabe Davis a lot this year. I think there's a good chance he becomes the number 1 there. I think because of the warmer weather, he's going to be playing in the dome with Houston and also the Colts twice. And I think he has potential this year, and I think people might be a little surprised how well he does.
There you go, Gabe Davis. You heard it from Very Blessed Indeed. All right, we'll see you later. Call in tonight on the Dynasty show if I go live. Later, bro.
Later, bro.
Okay, so I don't know. As far as Gabe Davis, I like him. They like him a lot, but they also talk up everybody, and then they don't. We're gonna not use ETN this year. We're gonna use Bigsby, and we're gonna spell ETN. Then they don't. And then we like Ridley's great. They don't even use him. Gabe Davis is so dynamic. We're gonna use him all over the field. And Jacksonville's the one team that I believe the least as to what they say they're gonna do and what they do. To be quite frank. So I don't know. I like Davis, but I'm not really a big guy, a big Davis believer. Guys, I may or may not be live tonight. It really just depends on if any news breaks on the main channel. If it doesn't, I'm gonna try my best, my darndest, to be here for a Dynasty live stream. I need to, for the channel's sake, not just for you guys, but for the sake of the channel. So make sure you're subscribed to both my YouTube channels. The links are in the description. YouTube.com/The Fantasy Football Show, which you're watching here. YouTube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football, which is in the description. And then don't forget about my content site, TheFantasyFootballShow.com, for all your year-round fantasy football content, trade calculators, year-round rankings. The rankings come out in June. No, they're up 365. Like, I got the rookies in there way before, like, January 1, I start plugging the rookies in. I don't care if we don't have landing spots. We'll adjust and adapt as soon as the landing spots are had. Like right now, all the rookies are in there. They're in my rankings. They're in my Superflex rankings. They're in my rookie-only rankings, my Super Rookie rankings, which I coined so many years ago, and everybody copies them now. Super Rookie rankings are the sophomores and rookies only in a ranking set, and the sophomores jump into juniors and jump out of the rankings, and the new rookies come in the next year, and then the rookies that were just rookies turn sophomores. So it's constantly the two most youngest years, because it gives you a really good sense of the future. And even though it's hard to apply, or it was hard to apply those to anything, now Underdog has a sophomores and rookies fantasy draft. So those rankings go perfect with that. But a lot of people have used a lot of people take what your boy Smitty does. But the Super Rookie rankings, we call them, the bold predictions, the trade calculator, the video courses, all that and more, thefantasyfootballshow.com. Go check it out, learn about it, and I'll see you all later. Appreciate you. Come on, man. Pick up.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Hey man, it's Devontae Adams again. Call me back, bro.
In your eyes, the light that hit your eyes, incomplete your lies.
Dear Santa Claus, I'm thankful this year, especially for Tank Dell, who helped my daddy win his fantasy league so I could have all the toys and candy I want, because I'm a selfish little shit. And thankful for my dad being able to win his fantasy football league, because he sucks at fantasy football. And if it wasn't for Tank Dell and the Fantasy Football Show, he wouldn't win shit, and I'd get nothing for Christmas, and that would suck ass. Love, Timothy. Ma, get me some meatloaf.
It's such a thankful time of year.
Live Monday through Friday whenever big news breaks. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, like this show right here. And if big news breaks tonight, what other person's going to go live? Probably nobody. Probably nobody. Alvin Kamara visits the wrong Vegas casino tonight, and video breaks out of it. Your boy will be here. Nobody else will be. Big news breaks. You know where to come. See you all later. Appreciate you. Thank you to my super chatters again. Joe Salters, Alan M, Calvin Krim, Juicebox, Rock Out, James Foster, Coble. Hopefully Joe Salters and Calvin Krim saw my response. Joe, you here? Joey boy. Thank you, Salters. Appreciate you. He didn't respond. I don't know if he left. Hopefully he saw my response. My response for if you didn't remember. Oh, would you trade the 2.2 for? Yeah, so Debo over the 2.2 by a mile. And no, I'm probably not taking Bowers. He's definitely locked into my 4 or 5 without hesitation. And only Brian Thomas Jr. could climb him if he's like in Buffalo or something. But he's locked into the 4 other than that. But not ahead of the 3 wide receivers, Joe. Appreciate you. Calvin, appreciate you. It's a great question. So I don't have better answers yet, but we will as soon as we see, quarterback landing spots for Mayo and everybody. I mean, really. Deuces.